The more power you have, the more grip you have, the more you push the limits, the more stopping power you need. Get race-proven technology. Hawk Performance.
Hey, we still on this weekend for a little?
You know it. I'm in desperate need of some.
What about you, Jim?
No, my sister's getting the wedding. She's getting married, so.
When adventure calls, make sure you're ready to answer. Stable 360 ethanol treatment is specifically formulated for year-round use, so your engines will be ready when you are. Ready, willing, stable.
We've been powering the American road since before it was paved. Our first breakthrough in motor oil was introducing it. And we've been reinventing it ever since. From the world's first high-mileage oil to the world's first synthetic blend. There are those who change with the times, and those who drive them. Valvoline, the original motor oil.
And we're racing. The Hightower pushes Jensen along the exit of turn number 4. This when it's big slide. It's time to go racing at Gridlife Midwest. Hill side by side. O'Gorman around the outside now for the top spot. Tom O'Gorman goes to lead. 3 wide the lead. This is great racing, folks. This is what this series is all about.
Coverage of Gridlife Midwest is brought to you by Hyundai. It's your journey. Welcome back to Gridlife Live in the final race of the weekend for Gridlife Touring Cup at Gingerman Raceway in South Haven, Michigan. Kyle Heyer joined by Greg Kramer for what is sure to be the finale, the hot finale for our fantastic weekend of racing. A 50-plus car grid going for one final romp around this 2.21-mile racetrack, Greg. It is a blast to be here. It's been a fantastic weekend. The weather's been great. A little cloudier today than it was yesterday, but the temperature's been very cool, and it's been a pleasant afternoon here, and we are just wrapping up our competition on Saturday. GLTC Race 4, Track Battle, and Drift to finish off the things today.
Very comfortable today. Yeah, great point about that. With the cloud cover, obviously it mitigates any sun getting down on the track. So I think the track's going to be really racy, and we're looking forward to it. You can see all the cars staged up and ready to go. And you made the point about how exciting this has been. I mean, we had 2 races yesterday after a good qualifying session, a thrilling top 10 shootout to determine the top 10 starting spots for the 3rd race we had a little bit earlier, a phenomenal 3rd race. And now queuing up for this one. And look at this, the drone guys, they are ready to do some race car chasing, and we love that.
Absolutely. And again, the safety crew set up some obstacles out there to go for. So the drone guys have been having fun across the board this weekend, playing with the obstacles and sailing through the branches here in the tree, the singular tree on the inside of Gingerman Raceway here at Gridlife Midwest Festival. I have a very special announcement, Greg, that after a couple of years of shifting the festival site, or shifting the date, I should say, we are back to our traditional June date. And as we did in 2019, in 2022, I can announce that Gridlife Midwest is a sellout this weekend for the festival. So that is absolutely spectacular. I can't wait to head in there tonight and see the thousands and thousands of people partying and living it up Gridlife style. Speed meets sound, Greg, and this has been a long time coming. There's a lot of people that make this happen, a small full-time staff, a huge part-time staff, and a ton of volunteers that make this event happen. There's so much that goes into this, and for this event to be such a success, after a couple of years of shifting things around to kind of mitigate the effects of the pandemic, this is a big moment for us.
It is, and it's incredibly well-deserved, as you said, the effort that goes into this. And folks, when you see the aerial shots around here, you'll see just how packed this place is. Off to the left right there, that area is absolutely jam full of campers that are just reveling in this. The banks have been absolutely filled with spectators. There they are. I mean, just look at that. They are absolutely lined up along the side of the track. At night, they go in and get in front of the monster stage that's there. This is something special. I ran into Charlie just a little while ago, and I think for the first time I've seen him this weekend, he was smiling. And I think it's because he heard, he knew about the sellout, realized what he and his crew have achieved. It truly is remarkable.
Yeah, and there's, again, a lot of those staff that I was talking about, both the part-time and the full-time staff, you don't see them a whole lot because they're rummaging around behind the scenes and lifting things and loading them in trucks and pushing pallets across floors, and they make it all happen. And again, it's a massive success, and thankful to be a part of it here this weekend. Again, we should also, preemptively, we're going to do it at the end as well, but thank the stream staff for being here. The trials and tribulations every year putting on a stream at this racetrack, they overcome it all. Brand new graphics package that was hustled to get working, and it's spectacular. So big thanks to those guys. Again, a crew of about a dozen, all making it happen and bringing you the pictures here at Gridlife Midwest. And we got 5 more streams this season, so plenty more to watch when we head to Autobahn Country Club in a couple of weeks. We've got Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, Lime Rock Park, our Alpine Horizon Festival in September, and finishing things off at Heartland Motorsports Park in Topeka, Kansas. So lots more, not just Midwest. Check your calendars and mark them. Grid.life for the full schedule.
Well, the racing at any Gridlife event with GLTC and TrackBattle is superb. But for these festivals that bring in music and often the drift and the like, this is something special. This is my first festival, and I'll be honest, I'm blown away. This is just something really, really cool. And I love the cross-pollination, if you will, of bringing in. There are people here who come for the music that leave race fans, motoring fans, and there are motoring people that come here and just revel in the evening and enjoy the music. And then you guys came up with some people to come out and paint sponsored logos and stuff. This is top tier. It really is.
Painted Yard Art is the Instagram for the guy that comes out and paints all of our logos, and he did that for us last year. And you know what? That was a great idea. And we brought at Painted Yard Art back again this season, and he's done a phenomenal job prettying up this racetrack. It looks fantastic. And again, a huge thanks to all the partners. You see all the bannering around the racetrack. The partners like Momo and Stable and 303, eBay Motors, Hyundai, Falcon, FCP Euro. They all make it happen. ECU Masters and Hawk Brakes. They all make it happen for us this season and make all of this possible, including the live stream. So big thanks to all of those partners that are with us this season and beyond. The fans are lining up against the fence. The track is quieting down. One more session to finish out before we head into our GLTC race. Last race was about 12 minutes long. We had a great battle up at the front and a fantastic battle all throughout the field, all the way to the back. Tom O'Gorman gained a whole bunch of spots, went from 51st to 13th, but it wasn't quite enough for the field invert, Greg.
I know, missed it by that much. Missed it by 3 spots. The invert ended up being 10. And I'm sure Tomo was, all of his digits were crossed for it. But it's wonderful because, for one, we've talked about how much we've watched over the last few years Matan Rosenberg, the young 18-year-old, develop, not only as a driver, but as working on setup on the car, and made his first top 10 here. And guess what? With the invert, he'll be starting on the front row, along with Louis Chatroux. We've told his story a couple of times here about his connection through this track through his mom, who passed away when he was here racing last year, and this is a special place. So it's just some wonderful stories that are unfolding. And you're right, you don't pull off something like this without some great partners in terms of the financial support, activations, and the like. And we haven't really talked a lot about that, but there's some serious companies here that are doing activations, and just we're off the air, and primarily while we were off the air, all kinds of people, just fans, were just walking up and getting rides. And the way that Gridlife goes about it, it's incredibly special.
Yeah, GLTC coming up just shortly. If you just joined us, and you mentioned those activations, Hyundai brought a big one. 2 of their Hyundai Elantra N TCs and a couple of their Hyundai Elantra N street cars. They were given rides in those fully prepped IMSA race cars as well as their street cars, and given the biggest smiles on the faces of the people that were here. And we also had our grip, drift, and lift sessions earlier today. Those are basically drift cars and grip cars sharing the racetrack together and giving rides to everybody here. So if you have not yet been to a Gridlife event here in South Haven, Michigan, put it on your calendar for next year. We're coming back. It's going to be bigger and better than it ever has been. And if you're out in Colorado Springs or kind of out in the west area, mark Alpine Horizon on your calendar for September. And if you're really a true race fan and you know, IMSA and you know, classic drift cars and that sort of thing, that's your style, head on over to Lime Rock Park this August. We're going to have the Circuit Legends Festival and bring out in a concourse and on the racetrack some of the best and most famous race cars of all time in conjunction with TrackBattle, Gridlife Touring Cup, and Drift.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see. I mean, certainly the Gridlife touring cars are going to put on a spectacular show at Lime Rock, but the drift and the track battle cars around that place, it is short. You know, in the road racing world, we call it the bull ring of road racing because it's so short, so fast, and they are going to just be absolutely amazing at that track. So there's so much coming this year for Gridlife, and it's just a thrill. Getting back to that inversion, you know, obviously, Matan and Lewis are absolutely delighted. Robert Thorne and Mr. Swenson, the defending series champion, maybe not so much because they went 1-2 and now start 9-10. But just to go back to it, I thought Robert Thorne, that win was just an absolutely superb drive. He controlled it and just had everything covered in it. And his reward, he gets the win. And he gets to start 10th. And good points. This is a great points weekend for Robert Thorne. Yeah. Just keep that in mind. There's a weekend champion as well as a season champion, so we'll be keeping track of that. And the guy who's probably going to make the biggest gain in points here, chasing Tom O'Gorman and Smedegaard, who were 1-2 coming in, was, you know, Jeremy Swenson was 15 points back coming in. Tomo and Andy have had a win and a DNF, and a third for Andy and a 13th for Tom. All Swenson's done is second place, second place, second place. He's consistently earning big points. Yeah, and that's going to pay off for him later in the season as well. We should mention how that invert happens. It's a random invert pulled from roughly the top quarter of the field. I got to press the button this time on the random number generator. So I wouldn't be spending a lot of time around Swenson and Thorne. No, I'm going to later on. Hopefully they won't see this. But I pressed the button and the invert was 10, and that's Louis Chatroop and Matan Rosenberg that will share that. That was funny when Renee walked over and said, "You do it." I've never gotten to do it before. Yeah, I know. That's pretty cool. And the thing is you know those guys are fast. Smedegaard's fast. Kelly James has had a great weekend. All of those guys that now will start a little bit deeper in the invert, we get to enjoy them strategizing, working their way to the front, and doing it in a short period of time. And that's really fun as well. And it's just part of the unique rule structure and package of Gridlife Touring Cup that just makes it so compelling. Thinking back to last season, Jeremy Swenson had some really good runs here. some waves from the media crew here. Jeremy Swenson was running really, really well, had an invert, put him all the way back in about 15th place. He didn't go anywhere. Yeah. Again, those Corvettes, they're really great on defense, not so awesome on offense here at Gingerman Raceway, to how they're built and how they run. So it's going to be a tough sell to tell me that Jeremy Swenson is going to go very far forward. I would keep an eye on Tom O'Gorman. I don't think he's done climbing the field just yet. He just ran out of time, so they're going to add more time to the board, and I think Tomo's still got a top 5 in this race for sure. That was a monstrous drive he put in. I mean, you know, think about it. He was outside of the top 50, finished 13th, and did it in 12-plus minutes. I mean, that's just stunning and an indication of just how good Tomo is. And I think you're right. I think there's more to come here. It'll be interesting. Does he make top 5? Does he podium? I think he's going to, but it'll be interesting to watch. And the thing is the other thing that we really need to point out, I think, is with the rule structure, and I'm talking about the safety and no contact approach to racing here, as you've put it, proving that rubbing is not racing, right? Or it doesn't have to be. Let's put it that way. They're making crop circles down there, Greg. Sorry. No, I was just thinking that too. You took the words right out of my mouth. That's where the aliens come from. But we have had 4 races now, with 50-plus cars on a 2.21 mile track, not that wide a track, and we've had a few, but very few incidents of any contact. And that is just cool because it is, that just allows people at the end of each race to not have to rebuild the car, to not have to do whatever as we're enjoying the show here, to not have to spend hours afterwards. They want to get done. They want to bench race, talk, and have fun. And this series promotes that and does it very effectively.
It is important to address that, racing this many cars on this track, Adam's expectations, he says to every driver's meeting, he goes, I want everybody to be perfect. And the expectations are lofty, and sometimes the reality is a little bit less than that. But this weekend, there has been a couple cars that have gotten some moderate damage. But in the grand scheme of things, show me another racing series anywhere on Earth that can put 50 cars on a racetrack this narrow and not wad up 20 or 25 cars by the end of it. I mean, it would just be a disaster.
It would.
So while we want it to be always better and that the goal is 0 cars come off the racetrack with damage, it's still pretty amazing how little damage we end up having after weekends like this.
Well, racing has risk. But you guys have shown, Gridlife has shown, you can mitigate that risk even just down to not having even minor body damage. You can do this. You can make this work. And what it comes down to is, and at the drivers' meetings, one of the things that is so cool is Adam just takes 5 minutes out of the drivers' meeting and says, I want you guys to talk amongst each other because I want you to know when you're out on the track that guy you're racing is a buddy of yours.
Yeah.
And I think that really pays dividends, and I really love the approach. And the thing is, as a result of it, we're able to call battles with cars going side by side through 3, 4, 5 corners. That's about as exciting as it gets, and it all comes down to you just need respect.
Certainly.
And that's what you've got here, and it's absolutely wonderful.
Well, the crowd is getting prepped for a concert tonight, headlined by Cascade. And here we go. Cars are beginning to roll towards the splitter past Mike Mills. And he's giving him the heads up. And here they go, rolling past the splitter. Mr. Paul Darling on his scooter out there, waiting for the cars to approach. Louis Chatroop will get to choose a lane. Matan Rosenberg will get the other lane that he doesn't want. Jensen will be on the inside. Paul Curley on the outside. Let's roll through the starting lineup, Greg. I got the top 20. We'll go from there.
All right.
Louis Chatroop will start on the front row, the number 26 for Performance Euro Works, alongside Matan Rosenberg and the number 44 Miata for Rosenberg Racing. Eric Jensen starts third in the 184 for G-Speed. Paul Curley, G-Speed teammate, starts 4th, and Ronnie Solomon, Matt Waldbaum for ASN in 5th and 6th. Kerry James, Andy Smedgard in 7th and 8th. Jeremy Swenson, Robert Thorne in 9th and 10th. Then Eric Meadows, Tom O'Gorman in row number 6. Row 7, Andrew Rains and Jake Jorenstad. Row 8, Wes Case and Ryan Christoph. Row 9, Jackson Jensen and Steve Pruden. Row 10, Aremus Korosis and Vitas Aronauskis.
Then starting in the 21st spot, it'll be the 47 of Jeff Preston. 22nd will be the 213 of Scott Robertson. Starting 23rd, the 171 of Joel Morrison. The 24th spot will be the 567 of Dan Capaldo. Starting 25th, the number 5 of Brian Heikotter. Another guy who came from deep in the pack and had a really, really stout drive. And right with him on that same row, another driver who started dead last and put in a stunning drive. Starting 26th will be the 18 of Colton Wade in one of the best graphic packaged machines that we have seen in some time. 27th will be the 117 of Nick Sartar. Starting 28th, the 24 of Dustin Barty. Starting 29th, the 261 of Brad Kosiba. Starting 30th, the number 9, Cameron Recknagel. Starting 31st, the number 6 of Michael Kritikos. Starting 32nd, the 898 of Brian DeFries. Starting 33rd, number 12, Felipe Gonzalez. Starting 34th, the 404 of Jeremy Meyer. Starting 35th, the 77 of Hans Hopedal. Starting 36th, the 515 of Thomas Moss. Starting 37th, the 541 of Seth Gale. 38th, the 71 of Clayton Fitzpatrick. Starting 39th, the 43 of Joe Tulo. And starting 40th, the 68 of Pat Reeds.
All right. Stephen Cox, 41st. Bob Dice, 42nd, the number 17. Fiona Liu rolls off 43rd, and the number 88. 44th, the 528 of Richard Sawicki. 45th, the number 710 of Michael Hergen. 46th, the 4 of Carl Hurdle. 47th, the 46 of Bill Griffin. 48th, the number 51 of David Rudzinski. 49th, the 36 of Tyler Starr. 50th, the number 7 of Justin Lee. 51st, the number 113 of Wes Penn. 52nd, the 2 290 of Matthew Park, and 53rd, Zach Lavoie in the 42. Remember, we started the weekend with 57, so having only 4 cars out is pretty amazing.
It is. I mean, again, that gets right back to what we were talking about. And as I looked at this order, I realized why you decided to take the top 20. Thank you for that.
I didn't actually do that intentionally, but it worked out well, didn't it? So.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And one of the things about this track, if you're just joining us for the first time this weekend, this track doesn't have massive elevation change. But what, and I keep using this term because I thought Tom nailed it, it has texture. And what that means is the elevation change is subtle, but it's got a lot of consequence in terms of lap time and raceability if you don't find those little nuances in it and know exactly what's happening. There's a couple of spots where it's a blind approach into a corner with a fall-away braking zone. That's just very tricky. It's easy to overshoot. And there's a couple other corners where as you turn into it, you think, oh, I've got to really get out of it here. And in fact, you can flow more speed than you think because you actually start to climb a little hill. And as soon as you climb, you get banking or camber, as they call it. And as soon as you get that, you can attack a little bit harder. And that's one of, those are the little things that you just have to figure out here. And you've got that 5-6 complex, and you've got that big run from 8-9 up into 10 where you're really working those right side tires.
Wanted to point out our pace car for this final race of the weekend. This is another one of our pace car contest winners. This is a BMW M2, the brand new model that is pacing our field today. The driver, again, is our pace car driver, Michael Cohn, and Mike puts in so much time and effort into Gridlife to make it happen behind the scenes. He drives the pace car, but he's also one of our operations guys, always a hard worker and puts in the effort. Big thanks to Cone. We call him Cone Zone. We get in the Cone Zone, you're going to work, and Cone is in his zone right now. We're rolling through turn 6.
All right, well, you generally have an acceleration zone that's marked by Cone, so I think it's a great nickname.
Cone Zone and the acceleration zone.
You're in the Cone Zone.
So Matan Rosenberg and Louis Chatroop, and this is a perfect example of the diversity of cars in Gridlife Touring Cup. Look at the size difference between these front row starters.
Oh, yeah, the small Miata and the much bigger greenhouse of the BMW. Both of them have strengths that the other doesn't, but when you, again, at the end of a lap, the lap times are exquisitely close. Just, again, a tribute to the rules package that Adam and the team have put together here. And just a glorious mix of cars. And with all the engine swaps that are allowed, as I've said before, when you look at these cars, what you see doesn't really tell the whole story of what's underneath that hood. And that makes it really fun, too.
So it's 2 4-cylinder cars. The M3 on the front row has a K-Series Honda motor inside it. Behind that front row is a pair of V8s, Corvette-sourced, LS-swapped FRS versus a C5 generation Corvette. Then it's 2 of the ASMS 2000s, Ronnie Solomon and Matt Waldbaum. Then Kerry James in a BMW M3 alongside another ASMS 2000, Andy Smedegaard. And behind them, about 48 or so other competitors going for racing for about another 12 to 15 minutes. One final time this weekend at a sold-out event. Thousands of spectators lining the fences for Gridlife Touring Cup. One final time this weekend at the Gridlife Midwest Festival. Sold-out crowd, sold-out field, 53 cars deep. And green flag is going to fly. We're racing at Gingerman Raceway. Look at the start for Curley. Had to jump on the brakes. Matan Rosenberg side by side through turn 1, trying to challenge Chatroop for the lead. Big slide. Jensen turns around.
Oh, and look at that as well as Rosenberg dropped his right rear, had a nice slide, never got out of it, came rocketing right up the inside of Chatroop. And I was just thinking that Rosenberg, if he can get to the lead and stay there, he's got to hustle, 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 because that light car, if he can get everybody else to run off their tires, he's got a shot at this. But look at this now. We already see Curley using the big power of that Vet relative to the other cars, even though it's heavy, coming up.
Oh, Gorman got through about 6 or 7 cars in the chaos of turn 1. Jensen did drive away. Amazing job to spin that car to the inside and not get run over by the 45 or so competitors behind him. Rosenberg running for his life.
Yep, that is his mission right now. Just go. Make them chase you and chase you hard. And look at this now. Curley to the inside of Chatroop. He's through.
Side by side for second. Curley grabs the second place away from Chatroop. Chatroop to the inside. Around the outside now is Robert Thorne, and Tom O'Gorman stuck behind a pair of his teammates. Gives a push and a shove to Thorne, pushing him through past Chatroop.
Oh, this is great. They're on the move here. This is into that really, really important turn 10 as it leads you into the best passing zone on the track.
Tomo up to 4th place. He is sailing, and Matan's got to just run, because once O'Gorman gets the second, it might be game over. But Chatroop out-dragging Tomo down the back straight.
Yep, a little bit more there in terms of the motor, but now on the brakes, here comes Tomo. And nice move, too, by, is that Solomon, defending on Waldbaum right now.
Yeah, Solomon and Waldbaum having a great battle for position amongst themselves as teammates. Chatroop down to 5th place in the opening lap. Rosenberg leads by 1.1 seconds over Paul Curley. Then it's Robert Thorne in 3rd. Look at this, Waldbaum to the outside. 3 ASM cars right on top of each other here, battling for position inside the top 10.
Yeah, Smedegaard looked like he got down to the inside. We're on board with him right now. This is up into that tricky turn 3. You see that little blind approach? Right there, it gets light, falls away. You've got to time your braking really well. Everybody has.
Oh, big jump off the end of the curb there for Waldbaum. Might leave him a little bit vulnerable. I think O'Gorman got by Robert Thorne in turn number 3, so his climb continues. He's up onto the podium already. Took full advantage of that gaggle in turn number 1 on the opening lap, but he's through into 3rd, chasing Curley now, and then he's got to run down young Matan Rosenberg, who would be, if he could hang on, the youngest winner in Gridlife Touring Cup.
What a story he's become in a relatively short time here as we're back on board with Andy, currently sitting in that 9th spot. With Waldbaum right in front of him. Oh, and look at O'Gorman coming after Curley right now.
Oh, Curley's going to drift a little wide. O'Gorman's going to have to run all the way to the edge of the road. On the brakes, a little wobble, but Tomo's there to the inside. Side by side, he can't do it. Curley didn't leave the space for him, and O'Gorman has to slot back in line.
Yeah, Curley shut the door on Tomo there. And that, as you said, causes him to lose a little bit of momentum. And that, that kind of action behind Rosenberg is going to be helpful to Rosenberg because it slows both of those guys down. They might want to just think about, all right, let's not work the passing too much here, and let's get up to Matan. Then let's see what we can do.
Here comes Ronnie Solomon on Lewis Chatroop now. Waldbaum licking his lips as he sees these two battling side by side. Chatroop over back to the right a little bit. Here comes Waldbaum on his teammate down the inside. Backs out of it. Now they're door to door through turn 2.
Yeah, I think Solomon took that bait a little bit, saw him coming, and then went in a little deep. And Waldbaum thought, well, maybe that'll work for me. But this is 3 team cars that we're looking at basically right here. The interesting thing for Andy Smedegaard, it's his team, but they're customers. So,
race them.
Exactly.
And he just put Matt Waldbaum behind him, took him to school there through turns 2 and 3. There's Swenson in the background. I mentioned he started this race in 9th. He remains in 9th. As I mentioned, it's hard for him to get past cars, but he's got teammates battling ahead of him. Ooh, big slide there for the 2-1-2. Swenson down the inside, not enough room for the lead. Here comes Curley around the outside for the top spot.
Gets the nose ahead, but Matan has that inside line. Look at O'Gorman's cut downs underneath as those two guys float out wide. This is going to be a pinch play right here.
3 wide for a moment. Curley through to the top spot. Rosenberg goes from 1st to 3rd. O'Gorman back to 2nd, chasing Curley through turn 9.
13th to 2nd in what, 2.5 laps?
Incredible. Now into 10B. Can Curley hold off O'Gorman? Now O'Gorman gets pushed a little bit wide. He's going to get a great run on the outside here, though. Can Curley keep the spot? Oh, right in front of O'Gorman now. Curley now has to drive away.
And Thorne now closing back up on the back of Rosenberg for that final podium spot. Meanwhile, potential run for the lead. You can see the legs on the Corvette. Here comes the brakes on the S2000, the slightly lighter car. Tomo, look at the speed he can roll.
Defensive line now for leader Paul Curley. He got it done around the outside in turn number 7. That was unbelievable. He leads into turn 1. This is the sector where O'Gorman's car is going to be good, though. He's got to make this Corvette very, very wide.
Yeah, and Tomo's doing the right thing. When you're at the end of a long acceleration run, you've got to come from a long ways back. And if you do that, you can get, surprise who's coming after you. They may not see you. What Tomo wants to do is exactly what you're talking about. He's into the part of the track now where he and this car sing. And he's just got to get up alongside, get that overlap.
Whoa, Matan Rosenberg off track, turn 3. Tires off into the dirt. He gathers it back up. Here comes Thorne now to the outside. But he kept it going straight. Now Thorne will take 3rd away.
Yep, Thorne slices through, picks it up. But that little moment, look how much room now that Curley and O'Gorman have back to that battle for 3rd, now held by Thorne.
Again, O'Gorman's car is really good through 7 through 9. It's got the arrow to lean on. Curley's does not. If Curley loses the lead here, it might be over. Tomo trying to find a way through the Corvette. A big obstacle out the windshield.
He's just got to be patient. He's got time. We're only a few minutes, well, we're about 10 minutes into this race, so.
Whoa, car off in the background. Matt Waldbaum goes for a ride. He gathers it back up. And we'll carry on and continue. Curley still holds off O'Gorman out of 10B. This is phenomenal stuff.
I think Waldbaum surprised Solomon and tried to come up the outside in that turn 4-5 complex. You don't see that happening much, and I'm not sure Solomon even realized he was there. And Waldbaum had to take a big evasive maneuver, but let's watch it again here. Tomo rolling so much speed, but this just turns into a drag race. And as that gap builds, it's going to be ever tougher for Tomo to get down to the inside and make a pass. Now, is he going to try the outside? No, he tucks in, but he might pop to the inside this time.
He knows not where to put. He's a professional racer,
Yep.
Greg. He knows not where not to stick the nose, and he's been trying a couple things, but it hasn't stuck. Curley is putting on a fantastic defense. Tomo there has, within a car length, he's within striking distance. He just needs a little bit more.
Exactly right. And and the thing is, once you get to the guy you're chasing, even if you're significantly faster, you got to run his speed until you get by him, and that's what Tomo's dealing with right now. And here's now Smedegaard is through his team
look
car.
at Swenson past Waldbaum. That was a big dive into turn 5.
Yes, it was.
A couple cars bobbling, trying to make racing room work. And again, through 7, 8, 9, this is where Tomo's really well set up, but he's just got to find a way around. It's not as easy as it looks, Greg. He gained 50 positions, and this is the last one that's going to take him all race to get.
Well, and as the old saying goes, the farther up the field you go, the tougher the passes become. The one for the lead is always the most difficult. And what I was kind of expecting, now let's see if he tries an over-under here.
Oh, Curley's wide, but I think Tomo left him plenty of space to try to build a run. And here comes Tomo. Can he use the slipstream and all? I think this Corvette's too strong. There's a car off to the right there. I didn't catch what one that was.
I did not either.
There is a yellow flag over there. That is important because you can't pass in a sector that has a yellow flag displayed.
I think what Tomo might want to think about trying, and I'm sure he's working the machinations in his head, is coming through 7 and into 8. As Curley makes that little excessive bend to the right to set up to turn left into 9 or into 8, is just slice underneath him. Because he's rolling a lot more speed through that section of track than Curley is.
He's got a car that's better set up for that sequence of corners than Curley's, but Curley is better at that point and shoot that the remainder of the track is set up for. There's the 90 and the 26 still side by side for position as they battle with 3 minutes to go, and the lead battle has not separated. Oh, Curley's wide this time. This might be it. He slips and slides through 3, and O'Gorman puts the pressure on again.
Yep, now, let's see. Now, and what's that is telling us, of course, is that Curley now, he's racing so hard to stay in front of a very fast Tom O'Gorman. He might be pushing those tires at this point past their sell-by date, so to speak. And so O'Gorman just needs to keep hounding him. But the thing is, he's running out of time. Tomo's got to make this work somewhere. So let's see. This is where I think he could probably make a surprise move.
Oh, here he goes. Oh, he had overlap for a second. Greg,
Yep.
He almost had it. Tomo puts 2 tires in the dirt using a little bit of the road, plus 2 inches. Now into turn 8 and 9. This is where Tom's really good, but just doesn't have enough of a run. And to Curley's credit, defensive, not blocking.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a huge distinction here.
Yep, and we also have a really good battle going on. It's tough to not break away from this lead battle, but a superb battle going on behind these guys for that top 10 spot right now between Jorenstad, West Case, Eric Meadows, and Aronascus. So they're having a good run too, but we can't just leave this one. It's too compelling here. And does Tomo get another lap or two? We'll have to see.
Coming back down the front straightaway.
No flag.
Into turn 1.
Yep, so at least 2 laps. Watch now, Tomo again. You can see Curley really protecting coming out of 1, staying inside going into turn 2.
Rosenberg feeling some pressure from Smedegaard in the background. Chatroop and Ronnie Solomon fighting for position.
Here's that battle. It's just coming through 1 right now. Really, really good scrap. And Case has moved up a spot. He's picked up that 11th spot.
There's the 144 and the 05. Brian Heitkotter shuffling his way through the field after replacing 2 engines this weekend. Trying to make it work. Matan Rosenberg now feeling pressure from Jeremy Swenson. Here comes Swenson now. Not enough overlap. Can't make it work.
Yeah, Heitkotter up 11 spots so far in this one. So he's continuing to show what he's made of here. There's a look at Smedegaard. Now pretty lonely 5th place right now.
Yeah, he's got Matan just trying to cling to 6th behind him. Jeremy Swenson, Matt Waldbaum is in the mix as well. And really dicey stuff here. There are a couple cars up the road that might become lap traffic for the lead again. Curly a little bit wonky into turn 10B, and Tomo's right there, but this is where he keeps losing this drag race.
Yep.
And he can't pass on the straightaway. There's a caution here,
Exactly.
and you can't initiate a pass until the next non-yellow corner station.
Absolutely. So, even if he could make a move into 10 in terms of pace and strategy, he's not allowed to because of that yellow.
Coming back.
I'm waiting for him maybe to, as Curly protects inside into 2, to maybe just ramp the outside.
White flag, one more lap to go in Gridlife Touring Cup. It's time to go. 2.2 miles for Tom O'Gorman to figure it out to get by Paul Curley for the final race of the weekend. O'Gorman won the first race, had a failure, had to restart from 50th, drove all the way to the front, and here he comes for the top spot, the last position he needs to win race 4 at Gingerman Raceway, half a car length back from Paul Curley.
Oh, Curly's wide. Curly got in too hot. He will have the inside for 5, but O'Gorman now might be able to. Now he couldn't do it. Now he's going to see if he can get up the inside. Curly covers that. Oh, Curly may be a little hot there.
Oh, Tomo's there, right to the corner panel as they get to turn 6, but not enough of a run.
What great racing up front. Curly gets a little bit of room here now.
Up to turn 7. He's got a little bit of a gap, but can Tom eat it up here through 7? He's going to rim ride the outside. He needs to get this done by the time they get to 10B. That corner station's going to be yellow. He won't be able to do it unless he gets to turn 11 past that yellow corner station. Here he comes. Right on the bumper. O'Gorman to the left of Curly. Braking zone battle into 10B.
Car's gone. Passing is on. Tomo couldn't quite get it done, but now he squares up, gets a much better drive. He gets to the inside of Curly. The problem is, here's the drag race.
Side by side for a moment. Tom tucks back in line. Is he stuck here because of the yellow?
This is as close as he's been, though. He has a shot. It'll be a brave move if he can pull it off.
Final corner, GLTC Race 4, Paul Curley, Tom O'Gorman. Going to be a drag race to the line, but Curley's going to win this one at Gingerman Raceway. Paul Curley holds off Tom O'Gorman and gets it done at Gingerman Raceway. Phenomenal battle, and he wins it. That was spectacular. More racing, more battles. Jorenstad, the 144. And here comes the 05 of, oh, look at this, big dive on the brake.
Oh, those Bimmers are so good on the bikers.
Oh, Jorenstad slides.
Oh, hangs on to it.
That was great stuff. And to the stripe, gets it done. Height cutter across the line behind them. Steve Pruden and more. Wow, here comes Jensen on a recovery. Remember, he spun turn 1 past.
Yep.
Joel Morrison repaired that car.
Look,
that car was
that's
destroyed.
unbelievable.
I can't believe that he is racing this car. This car had a ton of damage from race 3. Unbelievable. And Morrison finishes in 29th place with a car that should have been junked for the weekend. Race 3, he had a ton of right rear damage. Came back and fought. Well done. A little bit of 3 wide here. Tyler Starr slow. Fiona Liu and Wes Penn battling for position all the way back to the stripe.
Fiona has been really impressive this weekend. Not a lot of race experience for her, and she has put in some really solid drives. Had a 25th out of 55 cars in the second race, so she's got some skills to be sure. But Tomo having some fun out there.
Celebrating. He did everything that he knew how to do.
Well, think about it. Third race, he goes from, 55th to 13th. Last race goes from 13th to 2nd, and it was knocking on the door of first.
We got a car in the weeds down there, and that, to me, looks like a large vehicle. That could be the HMA Racing minivan.
Yeah, that's possible. But for Curly, second win on the season, and boy, did he have to earn this one.
Wow, they are really in there, and I think that is the Hart, Alabama Honda Odyssey, and it has gone off, and it is deep in the weeds over there. So that's not ideal.
No.
And this car, again, the most powerful by wheel horsepower in the entire field. It is also the heaviest car in the entire field, and Carl Hurdle and the Hart Alabama crew brought this out. This is their first time at Gingerman Raceway, and plowing a path there deep into the weeds. And they're going to have to, I don't know, they're going to have to get one of those massive big rig tow trucks to pull that thing out of the weeds. But
a long winch.
Yeah, difficult. I mean, that's tough because, you know, it's hard to get sight on that corner.
Tell me about it.
It's really easy to have an issue, but straight off that far, you have to wonder if there was a braking issue of some kind, because that's pretty well straight off the corner.
Well, that has ABS, right?
Yes.
So what happens sometimes if you get in too hot, and you get too hard. ABS isn't a cornucopia that just solves everything for you. And if you get into a corner where you're just too fast to make the corner, ABS eventually will just kind of go numb, and then it just kind of kicks into a mode where it really stops being too effective, and you just go straight off. And in that corner, with that power of that thing, he's moving.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get that car pulled out again. Carl Hurdle behind the wheel there. Take a deep breath. That was a phenomenal race, wow. Greg. I can't believe what we saw. And props to Matan Rosenberg. I kind of wish he could hold on to that a little bit longer. He was doing a great job. But
he was.
He did end up slipping to 6th, but still a spectacular result. And then O'Gorman again, what a drive by him from 51st up to 13th, and then to carry that all the way to the front. It all came down to turn 1, lap 1. I mean, he might have still gotten there even without that moment, but when Eric Jensen spun, everybody scattered, and Tomo just drove right through the middle of it and found his way to the front.
Yeah, he did. I mean, that's one thing. His experience shows so much here. And the thing was, he got Curley to make the odd mistake here and there, but it was never a hugely egregious mistake. And O'Gorman would come up the inside, but then the horsepower of that vet was enough to just push him back in front of O'Gorman, so he couldn't maintain that overlap. And I really thought on that, and I think he was thinking about it on that last lap, ramping around the outside of 2. But as he went for it, I think Curley slid, was pushing so hard he slid up, and that just parked Tomo just a little bit. But I mean, it was a brilliant defense by Curley. And let's give Curley, some extra shout-outs here for the simple thing. Keep in mind that in the top 10 qualifying, he halfway through his lap, he suddenly slowed and looked like he was going to, maybe something serious had happened. It wasn't that serious, but he was back deep in that top 10, stayed right there, and then benefited.
He took the lead outside 3 wide in turn 7 at Gingerman Raceway. That's not something a lot of people have done successfully.
No.
And once he got there, let's talk again about the defense. In Gridlife Touring Cup, you're not allowed to block. The entire time I watched that, I didn't see a single block. He picked a zone in the braking zone and stuck with it. There was a couple times he drifted off the apex in the corner, but there was an overlap there. I'm okay with that.
The only moment would have been that one time where Tom had a little overlap and he just shut the door on him, and that one might be looked at a little bit. But Tomo read it beautifully, dipped the brake, and just kept on chasing. So overall, I mean, you can't fault the defense. It was an absolutely superb drive from Curley, knowing how fast Tomo is, and it was evident, wasn't it? If Tomo had gone by him,
he would have been gone.
Been gone.
Tomo clearly in that moment was the faster car, but the fastest car doesn't always win the race.
No. And Curley, proved that, and we've talked about it all weekend long. When you're in traffic, whether you're trying to work through traffic or you're trying to keep somebody behind you, horsepower is your very best friend. And speaking of best friends, this is an opportunity for us to give a shout out to the camera crew here. They are something else.
They got long days in the heat and the sun, and thanks for being with us. And some folks are asking, why don't you stream from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.? Because they got to come down and use the bathroom every once in a while.
Exactly.
And
you know what they say, shoot pretty and always carry a big boomstick.
There's our drone, and of course we got a couple aerial shots around here this weekend. And again, this production, the quality of it, I was talking with some people in the paddock that they said, there's F1, there's IMSA, there's IndyCar, there's NASCAR, and we're somewhere around the F1 IMSA bracket right now with the production level we've got, which is pretty unbelievable. I think, and we've got more stuff coming. That's the cool thing, is there's more on the way in terms of the graphics that accompany this, and all the data sets behind the scene and how they're handled. And it's just been a great show this weekend. And there's so many more, 5 more this year, that we can impress even more people with.
Absolutely. And as he's showing, there's music on the stage that you can hear now.
Yeah.
He was doing a little grooving up there. That party's going to be monstrous tonight. So
it'll be the biggest it's been ever.
Sold out, man.
Sold out.
That is amazing. I love it.
So running you through the rest of this evening, we don't have a ton left for you, so make sure you stay glued to your seat. In a couple minutes, it's going to be Track Battle Time Attack, Greg. We've got one more running each of Group A and Group B.
And that's Group A, the unlimited cars. They are just monstrous and something special. Group B, I love that group too, because there's some very fast, more stock cars that just fly. It's exciting. One thing, 2 things that I wanted to say here. You were talking about having that car that was broken and never would we have thought he would be back in the race.
Yeah, Joel Morrison.
Yeah. The crews in this sport, remember, these aren't guys going, racing for big IndyCar Formula One teams that get paid a fair amount of money to work on cars. Most of these crews are just buddies, and they come out and they work these cars. They spent, like for Colton Wade, Brian Heitkotter, and obviously for Morrison, all of these crews have spent enormous hours late under the night here working. Yeah, look at that car.
That's what this looked like. I'm going to pull this back because the focus is probably. That's what this car looked like before race 4. And they got that car repaired and running, and it finished better than it started.
Yes.
Which is amazing. So they did a phenomenal job. And Joel Morrison, new teammate of Myriad Motorsports this week, and Myriad Motorsports 9 Lives Racing. So that was a great effort by the Myriad Motorsports team to get that car back in the race and running. Great,
Absolutely.
Great.
I mean, the crews, especially in grassroots racing, the crews are the unsung heroes because they put these hours in, and what they're getting out of it is a long ride with their friends, a road trip, and maybe a few meals usually, and it's great. The other thing I do want to give a shout out to all of the volunteers here, obviously the corner workers that are out in harm's way, but there's all kinds of volunteer positions, especially with this festival, that we have people out here, security, grid marshals, pit marshals, all of that, that you can't put on an event like this without them. So a big shout out to them as well.
That's going to do it for Gridlife Touring Cup for this weekend. Next up, Gridlife Track Battle Time Attack, the final stream sessions of the weekend. We'll see you on the other side. Coverage of Gridlife Midwest is brought to you by Momo, made in Italy since 1964. And by Hyundai, it's your journey. Coverage of Gridlife Midwest is brought to you by FCP Euro. Every part you buy is guaranteed for life. And by eBay Motors. Let's ride. And by Falcon. The Falcon Azenis RT660 is the official tire of Club TR. Into the speed trap for Ferris Cartoony, 183, and sets a blistering new track record. The final sessions for Gridlife Track Battle Time Attack on the live stream are about to kick off this evening here in South Haven, Michigan at Gingerman Raceway. It's Gridlife Midwest Festival, a sold-out crowd. Just watch a phenomenal Gridlife Touring Cup Race 4, and now they're going to watch some of the fastest time attack cars in North America go for the record laps they've been hoping for all weekend. The air temp and the track temp is cooling down, and excited to watch the coverage of this final track battle session on the live stream. Kyle Heyer joined by Greg Kramer. Greg, this is going to be a record-setting session, I feel, with the temperature the way it is.
I think the conditions are absolutely perfect. This cloud cover keeps the track cool, so you can really push your tires hard. The engines, when it's cool like this, they like that. A lot more oxygen packed into each molecule of air, and so they make more power. But remember, the previous track battle session, we were getting some really good times, even with that little bit of misting that was happening out there. And so now the track is absolutely dry. It's been well cleaned, and I think you're absolutely right. I think these might be the best conditions of the weekend thus far for these track battle cars to go out and really do something special. And, of course, you always think about what Ferris Cartoony might be able to do in these mint conditions.
He's just tenths of a second away from track record breaking. His previous record of 124.116 is the unlimited rear-wheel drive record here at Gingerman Raceway, set back in the fall of 2021. He's about 3/10 off that this weekend, and he's been trying to get that record all weekend long and been suffering some issues that he's been dealing with. Keep an eye on Will I. Young in track mod. He's now the quickest man in track modified, a 131.514, and that is a new track modified record, 2 seconds faster than the previous one. They just continue to move that bar. Looking down to the next category is street modified. Michael Omick leads the way now over the ASM Super K. Omick has a 132.876. That's street modified all-wheel drive. Not quite where RS Motors was back in the fall of 2020, but only about a second away. ASM Super K right behind him. Dewey DeWitt, Jason Kanakary, and Alex Lee hot in tow there as well. Moving down the list into the street GT category, Cody Hunt still leads the way in his number 176 Corvette. And then Ben Lynn continues to lead in street class in the number 65 for the Gears and Gasoline crew. The other Gears and Gasoline driver, that being Ben Thorne, who's got the Valvoline livery on the EK Civic, sent me a message, was just updating me on his weekend so far. He's been having his axle popping out of his transmission. It's been leaking oil down to his rear tires, causing the car to slide around. He's replaced the axle and fixed the leak, but the rear tires are soaked in oil. He's increased the rear wing angle to push down on the rear more and see if that counteracts the rear slipping, but he's not confident he can break any records with the car in the state that it's in. So we're going to wish Ben Thorne the best of luck. Again, optimal conditions. It is getting breezier, though, so I'm curious how much the wind is going to affect these track battle time attack cars, Greg.
And it can. They're very aero driven, and so gusts of wind, especially if it's a little gusty, it can upset the car just a little bit. And the other side of the coin is on, say, that long run from 10 to 11. If you're into a headwind, you're going to get a lot more drag. You'll be able to go a lot deeper on the brakes, but you're going to get a lot of drag. Conversely, if you're into a tailwind somewhere, you lose the aero, but you'll be a lot quicker down that section of track in terms of straight run. And here you can take a look at the weather. That is the forecast for the rest of the evening here. And as you can see, we got a little bit minimal chance of wet stuff around 7. Then it's going to be nice, and then maybe starting about 11 p.m., the percentage possibility goes up a little bit, but it's still relatively low. But right now, you take a look at the winds, and that's what we're talking about. There's virtually nothing out there, so I don't think we're going to see the cars affected by wind at this stage much at all.
So cars on track now. These are a couple of our Hyundai Elantra NTCs. These are here courtesy of Hyundai and Brian Herta Autosport. They've got their pro IMSA drivers here this weekend, Greg, and they've been giving ride-alongs to people down in the paddock.
Yeah, and driving that lead car, that is the TCR car, which is a spec'd out category of racing. Different manufacturers, but the cars are all built to the same configuration in terms of gearbox, engine size, that sort of thing. And the Elantra is the newest of them. It used to be that they had the Veloster or the N, and the Elantra now has got a longer wheelbase to it. And what that does is it makes it more stable in the long, faster corners that a lot of these tracks have. And the guy piloting this one is a young man named Harry Gottsacker. And I'm so proud of Harry, because Harry started his racing in World Challenge when I was working on that series. And he came up through the touring cars and the like, eventually ended up in GT4 racing and was really good. You can see right away this kid's got skills. Drove one of those R1s for a while, almost a prototype level car. Absolutely flew, and it's so cool to have him here now providing rides. The guy who is in the street Elantra that is out there giving rides as well is Mark Wilkinson, who is a Canadian driver, just one of the most genuine, special, wonderful guys I've ever met in my life, and wickedly quick out in that car. And just had a chance to chat with him briefly. And one of the things that caught me about that, I mean, they're out there driving race cars, so sure, they're having fun. But both of them, Kyle, said, this is amazing. This event is amazing. This is crazy. And I went, you got it. I said, this is my first one, too. It's blowing me away. And they were both, oh, no kidding. We're coming back.
That's great to hear, Greg.
Yeah.
Right now on track is one of our high-performance driving environment groups. And again, Track Battle Time Attack Group A is coming up in next session, a little bit delayed, of course. We had a couple sessions kind of stagger throughout the day, so just awaiting Group A. So we got some time to just hang out and wait and talk about some more Time Attack and just about the weekend in general. Again, Ben Thorne basically mentioned that, whoa, that was a big slide there, huh?
That wasn't a slide. I think that's that car's got problems. Yeah, he's smoking.
Well, all right. Digging up some dirt there in turn 1 as well. Ben Thorne just sent me a message. He goes, about the car not running right. He goes, that's just Time Attack.
There you go.
It's a builder sport. I've also heard James Houghton say, back when he used to run the Track Battle Time Attack series, that you work for hours and weeks and weeknights, and you're up late in the garage tweaking and working on every single bolt on the car and upgrading and spending money, and you do all that for weeks and months on end. You go to the racetrack and you finish second. You didn't break a record. not worth it.
No.
I mean, you have to break the record. You have to be the first in the class to really feel like you've conquered the weekend. And it's a series where, you always talk about if you ain't first, you're last. Well, that's what it can feel like in time attack. The records are the goal. Finishing first in class is great, but the record, being the fastest man or woman in that car, in that class, I should say, that's the goal. That's what everyone sets, right? Yeah. So finishing second or not breaking the record is, that's disappointing. I think I can see that.
I can too. I mean, on a similar level, maybe not quite with as much commitment, is autocrossing. You spend a fair amount of time, obviously, working on your car and everything. You get to the autocross thing, you set up, and it's the same idea in a sense. It's just on a cone track instead of on a big track, and you're out just by yourself. But if you go out there and you miss the win by 1/100th of a second, oh, you're annoyed. Because it takes some effort, and you just add that exponentially. This is what these guys are going through. The thing is, they're doing with other cars on the track too, so that always makes it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, getting a clean lap is a challenge, right? I mean, you've got traffic in all the different categories. You're not running unlimited with unlimited and street GT with street GT. It's a mix of all the fastest. We run them fastest to slowest and split that into 3 or 4 groups, but that doesn't mean your best lap can't be with traffic. You just have to get creative in how you do it. We do have point by rules, so you have to make sure that you're paying attention, looking in the mirrors to make sure that you can point by Ferris when he's doing 285 miles an hour down the back straightaway at Martinsville or something. I don't know. He goes so fast, and you have to be really heads up to make sure that you're not impeding anybody's laps.
That's a good thing. When we get to it, when we're with Ferris, that car and the Toyota Supra with the Judd V10, when they come out of turn 10, folks, watch the background and how quickly it suddenly turns into completely unrecognizable blur, just because of the acceleration of those two cars in particular. It really is mind-boggling.
Yeah, Ferris expects that he's doing about 160 plus miles an hour off into turn number 11 before he goes to the binders. So that's hauling. I've done 105.
Yeah.
Into turn 11, and that was enough
for
me. So 160 is definitely cooking. So Ferris is going to go out for one more go here. Will I Young, Michael Puglisi, Jimmy Rauch in the 991 numbered 911 GT2 RS in track mod. He's certainly keeping the pressure on the Michael Puglisi car in the 314. Again, they're in different subcategories, but everyone is running. There's not trophies separated out by drivetrain, right? The records are by drivetrain. The trophies are by class. So that's a class battle we're keeping our close eye on, as well as the Falcon Club TR category. Grant Davidson and Dana Basinski separated by just about 1/10 of a second between those two in Falcon Club TR. That's so close between those two.
It's incredibly close, and when you put everything into it here and you're running that close, you're talking hundredths of a second. It's remarkable that you look at some of these cars and they're so disparate in terms of, one, how they look, two, how they get their speed. Some of them are very quick in the straight line. Some of them are very good through the corners. But at the end of the lap, you're that close. And that just makes this so compelling and fun to watch.
Again, you're watching the Hyundai ride-alongs here that Hyundai and Brian Herta Autosport are engaging in here this weekend. If you've been in the paddock, you could sign up for a ride, and it means you can climb in the passenger seat, which normally doesn't exist in this car. Climb in the passenger seat and go for a ride with IMSA drivers and their machines. And was chatting with the FCP Euro guys this weekend because they had their FCP Euro Mercedes-AMG GT4s here last fall. We were kind of joking a little bit that they should have brought those Mercedes-AMGs this year. We could have had half an IMSA race going on down there with GS and TCR battling it out. That would have been fun.
It would have been fun. It would have been fun. Those things scoot. They're fun.
I rode in one of those last year. I got a chance to ride in one of the FCP Euro GT4s, and my biggest takeaway was the brakes are so good. They were on real old slicks that were on their way out, but definitely the brakes were the most impressive component to me. The other thing is that there's so many electronics and things that you have to not kick. They had to install a plate over them so you wouldn't bother any of the electronics in the floorboards because they're not normally meant to have a person there.
That's true.
So really neat stuff.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody thinks when you think about racing cars, you think about the acceleration and you think about the ability to carry and fly through corners. But the thing that real race cars do probably better than anything is stop. And it's, sometimes it literally is eye-pulling when you get to some of the real top categories of cars. I mean, in Formula One, I remember in 1995, Jean Alesi at Montreal when he got his first win. And in the post-race press conference, he was talking about, when he got to the last couple of laps in his Ferrari, and he realized that unless something went wrong with the car, he was going to get his first win. And he said, I started to get emotional, and I started to cry, and I quickly realized I've got to get over that. And one of the reporters said, oh, because the emotion was distracting and all that. And he said, no. He said, when I was getting on the brakes into the hairpin and into turn 2, the tears were flying out of my eyes, splattering on the inside of my visor, and I couldn't see where I was going. I mean, those are the decel loads that top-level race cars can get. And when you start getting into GT4 and GT3 machinery and some of these cars with a massive aero, which aids in braking, those decel loads are just stunning.
That's been my biggest takeaway every time I've gotten in a race car, and I've gotten in a handful of them now, that the power, when you're first accelerating up first, second, third, that's what gets you in your gut. Once you're up at speed, the acceleration kind of dies off a little bit. The braking, though, never does. Every braking zone. Ferris told me that typically here on a good track condition, he can pull 2.5 Gs of braking, which means that if you're 200 pounds, you're going to be weighing about 500 in the belts on the way into turn 11. That's crazy. Said with the track conditions this weekend, he's only been pulling about 1.5 Gs. So that's the difference in a dirty track versus a clean track and running after the drift particles and that sort of thing. So it's kind of luck of the draw and the temperatures and that sort of thing. He's got tire warmers to help him find some grip, but that's the level of braking that some of these cars have, in addition to their aerodynamic components. But again, just preparing for Track Battle Group A. You see them lined up here on grid. Ferris is out front. The blue and white Acura RSX is Will I Young, who's come a long way from Ontario, Canada to be here. Michael Puglisi in the 314. Then Jimmy Rauch in the 991 GT2 RS. And again, we were talking about the Porsches, the GT3 RS and the even more insane GT2 RS. There's a lot of people that would love to get behind the wheel of that white Porsche there in grid right now.
Oh, you know that. I mean, that is a literal turnkey missile track car. And that's one of the, obviously, Track Battle, a lot of the cars are the backyard engineering garage-built cars, which makes that really compelling and fun. But it's always nice sometimes if you're not necessarily mechanically adept and you have the wherewithal, you can buy a really top-tier track car. Just look at Porsche.
There's a look at the openings of the festival grounds. That's kind of the road from the paddock to the festival area. Food trucks and vendors along the way. I had a pizza real late last night.
I had empanadas for lunch.
Yeah, amazing. I've had the empanadas here.
Yeah, it was a beef guava and cheese empanada.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I might go get myself some of those after this.
It was ridiculous.
I also stopped by the Parliament Pizza. There are pizza vendors here. Was chatting with them. I was trying to buy my pizza. I went to go tap my debit card on the reader, and Zach Lavoie comes out of nowhere and boom, paid for my pizza. So Zach Lavoie, he's a national treasure.
Great overtaking.
he got me that time. He beat me to the braking zone on that one. Our producers asked if we had alligator ice. I don't know what that is.
Ice or eyes?
Alligator ice is what I heard.
Because the second one doesn't.
I had alligator at NOLA last week for the first time.
Good. That's not bad.
And pulled one out of the water on a gator tour.
Tastes like chicken.
It kind of, yeah.
No, haven't had the alligator ice. That sounds interesting.
Interesting factoid.
Yes.
I was just learning about alligator on YouTube. There was a YouTube channel I follow that had some tidbits on gator as a food source. And you want to wonder why it tastes like chicken? Because it's actually pretty close genetically to chicken. Like,
is that right?
Alligators are basically dinosaurs, and chickens are also the most direct descendants of dinosaurs. So therefore, they actually share a lot in common in terms of their meat.
Share a little DNA.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
a lot of it, actually.
That
like more than you would think.
That is an interesting factoid. Oh, yeah. Drone down.
Well, I think that might be where they want it.
He tried to land it there on that ledge.
Oh, maybe not.
But the ledge is tilted.
Oh.
So that was the issue.
Try to launch it again. Again, Track Battle Group A coming up in just a couple of minutes. And Matt's going to have to explain to me later what alligator ice is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I'm assuming they have it here. See what.
Oh, it's apparently one of the food trucks.
There's ice. I mean, there's a truck that I saw that did ices and stuff. So.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I got to go find myself an alligator ice later.
Well, an alligator ice and some music.
Yeah, that sounds great to me.
For the evening.
Yeah. have to say, again, with a sold-out crowd here in the festival site, this has been a phenomenal weekend. Got to kind of roam around when it was full-on with Cascade last night. The energy level was insane. We're going to see more of that with Kavinsky this evening. Again, thanks to everybody for joining us at the track or at home. And look at this. We got people of all ages joining us around the racetrack.
There's a young race fan. Hey there.
Waving to the live stream. Whoop.
Yep.
Mowing the grass a little bit, sending blades flying. That's great. And there's a look at it. Checking out the spectators. They've got the best seat in the house. Man. Some of the drone shots you get around here, Greg, pretty cool.
Oh, that was one of the things that just blew me away when last year when you couldn't make it to Mid-Ohio and you asked me to fill in for you. And there was that, I think it's in the tees, where they followed a car and the drone went right under the bridge at turn 1. And just watching those guys fly it. And then at one point, I turn and look, and there is the drone right outside of the booth window.
Oh, look at this. I don't think that's going to work, dude. Give it the best shot you got. I think the pickup truck bed is probably the move.
Yeah, there you go.
This is great, though. I mean, he's going to – oh, boy. Here we go. Again, showing the festival grounds, this is fantastic stuff. And this has been Gridlife's first Midwest Festival was back in 2014. So a couple of years in the making, really. We're, what, year 8 now? But it just keeps getting better and better every year. Every year there's more banners and more cars and more people and more music and more food. And mark your calendar, first weekend in June 2023, because you're going to want to be here.
Growth.
Absolutely. Yes.
You know, it comes with incredibly hard work by an incredibly dedicated group of people, and I just love the fact that you can see the payoff.
It's satisfying.
Crowd. Yeah, it's got to be.
And remember, for me, I joined Gridlife in a full-time capacity in November of 2020. Here's a look at the stage. Just starting to get people lining up. The tent to the right of the screen is the arcade. The bar is right there, right next to the Monaco tent. And
the merch tent is right there, too.
Yes.
And look at that line. Every time I've wandered through there, the line for the merch tent has been all the way. They've got it. I don't know how many rows.
Speaking of dinosaurs,
there you go.
There's a direct descent into one right there. Maybe maybe we got to go find him for some gator ice. But everyone getting ready and getting their front of the row standing areas, I guess, not really seats per se. But look at the bannering on the stage.
And that's a serious stage. You know, I'm glad we're showing that because I wanted everybody to know that this is the music part of this festival is for real.
It is for real.
It's amazing.
And again, all the festival grounds that you were looking at were behind us to our right. Look at that size of that tent. Arcade, silent disco, bar, all housed underneath there. That's the party house. That's where I'd probably be headed after here if I didn't have some things to wrap up tonight. But that's silent. Look at the size of that.
If you've never been to a silent disco, folks, it is a blast.
I've never even tried it. We've had it a couple of years. I've never gotten the chance.
If you dance, it's fun. And my wife and I love to dance. And it was a work party that one of the companies that she does business with they're grooving over there, and they had a silent disco come in for their other big party. And you put headphones on, and you could choose 3 different types of music, and you dance. And so you're sitting there dancing, maybe to some blues or something. And you look over and you see another couple dancing to some, electronic music, and it's not even close to what you're listening to and dancing to. You just look; it's surreal and an absolute blast.
Again, what is it with getting off the truck tailgates? It seems like this is becoming a theme here. Oh, off. There we go. Land nicely. There we are. Stick the landing. Rate that a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
They got snacks over there. They got their drinks out. Matt's giving it a 2.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Not exactly Olympic level quite yet.
No.
Again, we're just waiting for track to clear for Gridlife Track Battle Time Attack Group A. Group B will follow. Then it will be a short duration break before we head into our Gridlife Drift to round out the night. And that will be it for our broadcast and live stream here in 2022 for Gridlife Midwest Festival. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for being with us here all day. Those behind the scenes as well. And even the people waving behind the scenes that aren't actually a part of it. But thanks for being here.
Absolutely, a big part of it. Thanks to all of the, again, we're showing a lot of our camera people. They, out in this up in the lifts and out along the trackside for such long periods, and the drone drivers and everything. But yeah, those fans behind it, that's wonderful. The thing that blows me away about those drones when they're doing those loop-de-loops, you know, the guys have got the virtual goggles on, so that's literally that's all they're seeing. How they aren't flying those things and erping up constantly, I don't get it.
I've gotten to watch a couple of those guys from real close distance, like standing right next to them, and they'll just let it fall out of the sky and they'll catch it. Yeah. Just with their bare hand, just grab it out of the sky like it's a bat or something. It's crazy. There's so much skill involved. We've got a couple different kinds of drones. We've got, you know, the big cinema drones that you've seen flying around getting those beauty shots. Got the fast little zippy drones, the FPV drones that do the obstacle course and the flips and the rolls and all that. Two very unique perspectives, and landing on the safety truck there. There you go. LED walls here for the fans that are trackside. Oh, this is going to be some streamception here, I think. Look at that. Oh, man. We're going to see the metaverse here, I think.
We're heading into infinity.
Oh, boy. It's like when the old Windows XP glitch when you used to open up 1,000 internet browsers at once. It would keep multiplying. Oh, goodness. FCP Euro, again, Valvoline,
all right,
Falcon.
Just for your reference there, behind those far FCP Euro Falcon, that's the icy truck that might have those those Gatorade.
The alligator
freezes.
Ice.
The alligator ice, yeah.
Gatorade freezes? Is that what you're going to call them?
Alligatorade freezes.
Yeah. People of all ages enjoying where speed meets sound at Gridlife Midwest Festival. And I need one of those scooters. There's a lot of people that have those things around the paddock, and I could get around a lot quicker if I had one.
Just remember, there's a speed limit.
10 miles an hour. We actually had someone hit Bill Griffin's car in the paddock going a little too fast the other day, and Bill has onboard footage. It's a perfect thing to use as an example of why not to buzz around the paddock at over 10 miles an hour. It was a little bit comical. He was totally fine, got up and walked away, but I think Bill was a little frustrated. Had some dents and dings in his car after that.
I don't blame him. Absolutely.
All right, engines firing.
I hear them.
Track battle, time attack, Group A is rolling. Ferris Toomey leads them off. Lap time to beat, 1:24.486. That would improve his weekend. Lap time to beat overall would be a 1:24.116. That would be the all-time record. Others behind him. Mike Almick, the ASM Super K. That's either Andy Smedegaard or Tom O'Gorman behind the wheel. Ferris warming up the tires. You're going to have to be aggressive with the tire warming here to get them up to temp.
Yep. A lot of scrubbing. And the scrubbing does put heat in the tires, but it's even more effective at just making sure those tires stay clean, because if you get clumps of junk on those tires, you lose a lot of the efficiency of the tire. So that's part of it. A lot of the times, the brakes, it's accelerating and braking really hard. That generates heat, and it's always better to heat a tire inside out. And if you use the brakes to heat the tire, it just heats the tire more evenly. But that weaving helps, but a lot of it is just keeping those tires clean.
Heading through turn 7, 8, and 9, and again, expecting 160 or greater getting off into turn number 11. There's Chris Boersma on track, Nicholas Gardner. Got a new livery on the side of this car, the green and blue Mustang GT500. Almick. Actually, that's Halka, rather, in the number 7 Subaru STI. There's Dalton Klein in the orange Chevrolet Corvette. Dalton is back with us in the number 206. Been a little while since we've seen that car, and glad to have him back. And this is, again, a really stout Group A, and lots of very, very fast cars. And again, excited to watch all of our competition classes go to battle here. Ferris Toomey will head back to the pits, as will I Young. And that's Puglisi.
Yeah.
I wonder, well, there's Jimmy Rauch. He's going to take the green. And so will, I think, behind him, I didn't quite catch that. Might be Almick behind him. Green flag for Jimmy Rauch in the number 991 GT2 RS. This is your second place car in track mod entering turn number 1. ASM Super K is on track as well, going for street mod. Almick, Super K, and Dewey DeWitt going for street mod records here. They're going to have to beat Almick's 132.876. That's the battle we'll keep our eye on, along with Jimmy Rauch.
Do you have any idea who's in the Super K for this one?
I don't. Again, between Andy and Tomo, it could be either. But Jimmy Rauch might. Ooh, I smell rain. So
yeah, I think that may have been. That was what I was worried about.
Yeah, we're hearing.
Ferris is not going to risk that.
No, we're hearing that there is a drizzle, and I can smell it. Actually, that was the first indication I had. And so I don't think we're going to see a lot of super
look at,
fast
you can see
times. Yep.
the water coming off the tires already.
And this
you
is
can smell it.
Yeah. Yes.
You're not right, dude.
You can smell rain, right? That's a
yeah,
thing.
you can.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
but
I'm glad because you might have
smelled
just
it like
you
a
might have
minute before anybody else.
he might have just confirmed that I had the supernatural ability to sense weather with my nose, and I felt like that was a normal thing. It is, thankfully. Amick off into turn number 10B again. I don't think we're going to see records with the track conditions like this, but we are going to see some people out there for fun and maybe to try things out. So we'll stick with you here for A and B before we take that short break and head into drift to finish off the evening. Again, Amick, his best time is a 1:32.876. High speed off into turn number 11. We'll see what he can get out of this lap.
Right here, it doesn't look particularly damp, but I'll tell you, up 3, 4, 5, 6, it looked like it was definitely wet back there.
About 4 seconds off. Super K, though, 1:34.781. That's not a terrible time. It's about 1.5 off of where they've been all weekend, so the track is certainly a little slower. Jason Kanakri jumps up to a 1:36.216. Kendall Samuel, that was the Subaru we saw with smoke coming out of it yesterday, so the 197 Evo. Whoa, car off track, turn 2. Trouble. And that looked like that was Dewey.
Yeah.
Dewey going for a ride.
Gathered it back up nicely, but still.
Yeah, Dewey in the blue and pink Subaru Impreza L. Ben Lynn on track in the street class number 65. There's Dewey going for a ride. Last night he was working on the transmission and it was underneath the car, and I was just having a conversation as he was laying under it. Thankfully, Dewey's easy enough to hear from about 30 feet back, so he didn't have to get too close to, he wasn't whispering or anything, but here he is through turn 7 now.
Do-it-yourselfers, I have a feeling, are very adept at having a chat while they're laying underneath the car.
Yes. He'll have a chat with you from across the paddock.
Well, there you go.
We love Dewey. Super K up to the top of the board, as we mentioned, to 34.7. Not a fast lap this weekend, but again, just making laps. Steve Luca in the 350.
Gathered it up. He was running a little wide there.
Yep. Oh, is he stopping?
Made a problem.
Yeah, again, when you go off track, it's not smooth. Though Jason Kanakri in the 106 has had it off in the grass as well. That's the McLaren 600 LT. I can't imagine those would be cheap bumper clips either, so better keep that bumper on the car. Look, there's Ben Lynn. That's the Advanced Auto Parts Evo that just slid by us there, and Kanakri climbing up out. And again, Ben Lynn is leading in street class with a 1:36.388, and he is only about a half a second off that. Here is Cal Fortner with the Al's Auto Body Mercedes-AMG GTS, but the wipers are wiping, and the fist is out the window. That's a return to pit lane signal. There he goes. And here comes the 176. This is our leader in Street GT, Cody Hunt.
When you have these conditions, when you're out there trying to go for records, trying to go for fast laps over the weekend, and you said, sometimes they will go out and just say, you know what, it's not that bad. I know I'm not going to be fast, but I'm going to have some fun. But when the track's damp, you always run that risk of an off. And there's tons of runoff here, but as you said, you can get off, you can catch a splitter on a little raise in the dirt and the like, and you always have to kind of look at it and go, yeah, how much do I want to risk it here?
That happened yesterday to Justin Lee in one of the GLTC races. He went off track, and actually the splitter caved in and broke the radiator mount. So underneath the car, it kind of folded up and under and destroyed the radiator. Thankfully, he had an extra. Again, that was Luke McGrew's car previously. Justin Lee, by the way, we should mention, was in Spain up until about a week and a half ago. Just got back, just picked up the car from Luke.
Wow.
And it's here racing. And again, had a little bit of an issue, but sorted it out. There's the 350 of Steve Luca. That's Street GT, that category. That's a 36.205. And Luca's best time prior to this, I have to find him on the timing sheet, was a 1:36.930. So that's a pickup for Luca by 0.7 of a second.
Wow.
And that should put him pretty close within, actually, that was faster than Cody Hunt as well for Street GT. So Steve Luca just went quicker.
Cody had a 1:36.1.
Yeah, so a 36.2. Okay, I was looking a little farther up the order.
But still,
very
right
close
there. Yeah, that was a great lap in these conditions.
Off into turn 11. We'll see if he can improve. That, again, is the yellow branded car on the timing and scoring screen. 5th place at the moment overall in this session. Across the line, will it be a pickup? Doesn't look like it this time through, but maybe starting another flyer. Super K also
ran it wide there.
Yeah, he did, and that's going to
really
slow
get on the binders.
Cody Hunt down. Here comes Ben Lynn in the number 65. Super K up to a 133.636, and I'm not quite sure that they are quite where they were, about 0.6 off, but I don't think the track conditions are all that bad. I think it was just a very brief light shower, and we're back to decent track conditions.
Because they had that 33.2. Where are they right now? Oh, a 32.5.
Will I Young, yeah.
Wow, that's a lap.
That is, again, another new track record for front-wheel drive track modified. So Will I Young gets it done. Super K second, Amick third in this session. Kendall Samuel does a 34.8. There's Will I Young that just ran the fastest lap time ever in track modified front-wheel drive. And Puglisi in the 314, he just did his personal best, a 133.681. And for Puglisi, I think the previous record again for front wheel, or actually he's an all-wheel drive track modified car. So his previous record was a 31.9. So he's a little bit off of that at this point.
Is that a 33.6?
For
in here, Puglisi.
Yep. Little off, about 2 seconds shy.
Yep.
Here's
His best lap so far was a 32.3.
Yes.
So
here's Toomey, back out on track again.
Give it a go. And he's got some obviously massive aero, but look right behind that front tire, all of that piping and tubing. That is some serious turbocharging that's going on. Double, one on each side, and he's north of 1,000 horsepower when he's got that car on full song.
Jamming air into the engine and jamming more fuel to meet it, light it on fire, and you've got power.
Yep.
Lots of it.
Oodles of it.
Lighting it on fire is probably a nice way of saying exploding.
Yes. Yes.
You're basically controlling a lot of little baby explosions. And when you're turbocharging, big slide there for Ferris. He's just testing the waters because he doesn't want to waste another hot lap if the conditions aren't right. So he's probably purposely going to slide this around just to feel it out. But here we go, past Will I Young, and at speed. We'll see if he stays out or darts into pit lane again.
He's going mighty fast to make a run into pit lane. Oh, he's going for it.
Ferris Toomey kicking off a flying lap. Here we go. A 1:24.116 is the record he's trying to beat into turn one. Downshifting. Good line through turn one. Throttles up, traction control, a light. Sparks flying, big moment through turn two. Gathers it up, but he's not going to make speed through turn two. He's going to make it here on the straight. Traction control again, shooting fire out the tailpipes as he heads up towards turn three.
Here's that tricky braking zone. Flattens out over that little rise. Very nicely done there.
It's a pretty tiny lap, all things considered. Can he keep it under control through 4 into 5?
And every once in a while, folks, you might look and go, other guys are using all of the, the runoff, the exit curbs, and all of that. He would be, except that the overhang on that splitter is so wide that he realizes I have to give a little bit of a margin or I can rip the corners off that thing.
That would not be great.
Yeah, no.
Not inexpensive to replace those pieces. Through turn 7 and 8 now, Ferris Toomey on a flying lap. And again, a little bit of a wiggle and a wobble, but this is a clean lap.
If he doesn't get it pitched sideways here, the only thing, a moment, was that one going into 2.
I saw some dust flying. I can't tell if it was from the inside or the outside of the corner. Here we go, though. Triple digits, 130, 140, 150, 160 off of the braking zone. Sparks flying from under the splitter. Ferris Toomey trying to break the unlimited rear-wheel drive record he set last fall across the line here in track battle time attack. Can he do it? A 126.518. He cannot. 2 seconds shy.
2 seconds shy, but in these conditions, that was a lap.
That was a heck of a lap.
Wheeling it. Holy cow. And he may have lost one of those seconds right there with that little slide in 2.
Yeah, not quite enough.
Yeah.
He's been trying at it all weekend. And again, going back to what Houghton said a couple years ago at Road Atlanta, that you spend hours and hours and hours, and anything short of a record-breaking weekend is a little bit short. And the crazy thing is you even feel that disappointment even if you currently hold the record. It's not, they don't care that they hold the record. They just want to keep breaking it and breaking it and breaking it.
Well, it's basically, it's that search for the perfect lap is, what it is. You never get it, but it's the search that, it's like it isn't the destination, it's the journey. And that search for the perfect lap, you keep trying to do it. And I've told this story before. You and I have talked about it. Trans Am back in the glory days when Tommy Kendall and Dorsey Schrader and Ron Fellows and those guys were running. And there was a year when one of 15 guys could have won any race. It was that tight. And at Road Atlanta, Tommy Kendall put it on pole by like 0.7 of a second. And I asked him afterwards, I went, how could you possibly have done that? And he said, I guess I just made a few less mistakes on my lap than the other people did. And I looked at him and he said, you never drive. There's never a perfect lap. It's the pursuit. And he said, I just got one that was maybe closer than the other people. And that's what this is all about. That's what time attack is all about. And getting back to that splitter thing with Ferris, I saw him run. It was like an exhibition thing at the Long Beach Grand Prix last year. And he showed up. He had a lot less aggressive aero on the front and back of that car. And I was, looking at it, and he saw my, my face kind of twist a little bit like, and he went, walls. He said, I don't want to hook the air, my front splitter with that foot of overhang on a wall, and I sure don't want to catch the back on one of those fence posts when I'm running close to the wall. And I went, yeah, that makes total sense. So you've got to be wary when you're running that aggressive and wide with those big overhangs. You've got to be wary of hooking them on things, and that's why he always gives himself that little margin on the track.
Here's the 155, Joe Milke in the street all-wheel drive Impreza WRX STI. Best time this weekend at 36.4. And looks like he'll have to try one more time tomorrow. Time Attack Group B, though, is rolling. He's just finishing up his flying laps. I think he was in that first group, so he's going to be finishing up and
he looked like he was sliding around quite a bit, so I wonder if that moisture isn't coming back again.
Wonder if I heard Ferris again leaving the pits. I just heard a lot of traction control and rear-wheel drive, and we'll see. But Time Attack Group B is rolling out of pit lane. Maybe going for another go at it, but I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's ideal. See, the wiper's still going on Joe's car. Unless he's just trying to tease us and troll us and keep the wipers rolling because we can't see.
Oh, I think they would be more than willing to play a game on us.
Okay, now we're hearing it's actually raining. Again, we can't. We're in a windowless tent, so we can't see. But it is definitely raining, and this is going to severely impact the ability for these Time Attack Track Battle cars to make speed. There's the 34. That's Andy Vogel. We've talked about him in Street GT. His previous best time of 1:37.239. Down the order, a couple positions in Street GT, third or fourth at the moment. I'm not sure that he's going to get much higher in this session, unfortunately.
Yeah. As soon as you start seeing spray coming off the tires, that's usually the indicator that you've lost the track, as they say. And I don't know that we're there yet, but we're certainly in parts of this track. It's going to happen pretty quickly if the rain is being a little bit more consistent right now.
There's Eddie Siegel and the Acuity Instruments Honda Civic rolling around. Again, just kind of testing the grip levels here. I think a lot of people in Time Attack are just going to test it. You see them kind of pitch the car sideways just to kind of feel it out, because going straight and accelerating gently, you're never really going to know what the grip level is. You need to kind of pitch the car sideways and see how it reacts, and whether or not it's going to return to center very quickly or if it's going to hang itself out because the track surface is a little bit slick. You see there, another kind of hip check moment.
Yep.
Trialing it out.
I've always liked the graphics on that car.
We saw that in iRacing. Remember that?
We did, yeah.
Back
it was
in
great.
the
and mixing purple and teal really works.
It does. We saw that car painted for iRacing. It ran in the Winter Touring Car Classic a couple of times.
How much fun was that?
That was so fun. We raced TCR spec cars about, 8 rounds?
8 rounds.
That was a blast.
Globally, that was fun.
Yeah. All the way Monza, Watkins Glen, Imola.
Donington,
yeah. Couple cars taking the green flag, but tentatively. Dana Baczynski's out here. Let's go back to our Falcon Club TR battle. There's one of them, Evan Weeder in the 531. Again, chasing those front drivers, Peter Granberg, Baczynski, Ben Thorne, and of course, you can never count out Grant Davidson in the Acuity Acura Integra GSR. And Ben Thorne is out on track. Remember, he mentioned his issues with the axle popping out. Now, this is kind of a low-stress session because you're not going to go fast. So this is a great test and tune and figure out what you can learn.
Yep. And that's the other side of it is if the conditions aren't torrential, why not go out and use this as a little bit of a practice session? Especially if you've been having problems with something, you can get out on the track and you're not necessarily at absolute full chat, which means you're not at full stress on it. But you can still, suss out and say, yeah, that seems to feel better in terms of whatever the issue is. It's just track time. You've paid for it.
Might as well use it.
Might as well go out and use it.
I mean, there's been times in the past we've seen the unlimited car drivers, they'll make a lap, a session, and that will be it. And sometimes they won't even go out. They'll get 3 laps a weekend. And sometimes that one of those 3 laps is the record-breaking lap, and they pack up and go home. They did their job. But a lot of times you'll see drivers run more and more and just try to get more track time and learn what they can, especially in the cars that are built that have the ability to run longer. Ferris's car would overheat after a lap or 2, and it doesn't need to do more than a lap. It just needs to go out there and run one quick one. But in Falcon Club TR, in Street GT, those cars can run lap after lap after lap, and that's there's no replacement and no better way to learn than seat time.
Yeah, absolutely. The seat time is the classroom.
And I know Pete Lindbergh says this a lot about the Falcon Sunday Cup category. When you get a fit, you have no excuses for not being on the racetrack. If you got a Subaru, you got a Honda that's got problems, you have your excuses. Oh, well, I got a Boxer, I got coil packs, I got this, I got that. Well, my head blew up. No, in a Honda Fit, you don't have excuses. Get on the racetrack and run. Pete calls his car Project Seat Time.
There you go. That's it. It's the classroom. And, especially if you ultimately might have designs to do door-to-door racing, well, guess what? Road racing happens in the wet. So this is the time, if you're thinking maybe, doing a little Gridlife Touring Cup or any other kind of racing, you're going to be racing in the rain at some point. Get out there and experience it a little bit now.
There again is Ben Thorne for Gears and Gasoline with Valvoline colors on the side. Was having issues with the axle popping out and getting oil on the rear tires, but again, didn't think that he's quite got the piece to go the fastest here this weekend. There's our key to show you the colors of Track Battle Time Attack. Again, this one will mostly be Street GT, and Falcon Club TR. But there are a couple other classes sprinkled in throughout, a couple street modified cars. And already the times we're seeing in the mid-140s, which is significantly slower than some of these cars would run in the full dry. Again,
for sure.
There's that, again, it's very spotty. It's not been consistent. It's just pop, little rain shower, pop, little rain shower. And again, it hasn't been consistent, but it has been a problem for Time Attack. And trying to judge the sessions and when to come in is a whole part of the art.
Well, absolutely. And, we've had this kind of cloud cover all day. And when it's a little dark in those clouds, obviously there's moisture there, and it's just a matter of does things, something change just enough to let it release a little bit. And a nice lap there by the 54 of Kainu. Up at a 143.252. That's Street GT running a Supra.
Alex Westergaard jumps to the top of the 35. Here is I think that's one of the PhD cars. That's the 54. And I'm going to look down my cheat list here. That's Tim Kainu at Street GT. I think that is a PhD racing competitor. I need to check this.
I'll tell you, Westergaard, that lap he just turned at 140.6, that's a second and a half only off of his best time. That's a lap in these conditions.
It is a PhD racing car. I couldn't load my sheet, but I can see a logo on the side of the car, so that's helpful. Thanks, PhD. At least that way we can see what team the car is running for. Again, Jackie Ding, who is on PhD and runs the 86 Supra, not here this weekend, had COVID, and has said he's feeling totally fine, just waiting for a negative test to get back to work. But a whole bunch of those Supras, and he's really believed in the Toyota GR Supra platform, and has put a lot of investment into his number 86 and the TA90 project with crew chief Alex Lee, who's driving the car this weekend. And again, these Supras, we chatted last night, Greg, with Alex Lee, and the internals of that engine that is running in Jackie Ding's car are untouched, and they're making north of 600 horsepower. They said the stock engine by Toyota had been tested to be able to hold 600 horsepower. They're doing better than that at this point. At this point, the only thing that's becoming a problem is the transmission. Hey, Daniel Pasinski just ran a pretty quick lap, a 140.616. That's not bad.
No. Again, about 1.6, second and a half thereabouts off of best time. So there's still some pace in this track. It isn't going to be, ultimately quick, but there's still some speed to be had out there.
Just enough to keep us on our toes in case somebody does go faster.
Yep.
Dana Basinski within a second of his fastest time of the weekend. And as they come into this session, Basinski is actually trailing Grant Davidson in Falcon Club TR. Grant Davidson, I don't think, is on the racetrack at the moment. So that could be a critical moment. If the track does come back in the next couple of minutes, Basinski could go a little faster. Here's another one of the Toyota Supras. Again, just a very well-balanced track car. The interesting tidbits behind this car, a lot of the vents that you see that are not functional, this car was designed off of the Toyota FT1 concept car. And they took a lot of the same lines and just scaled it down to fit the chassis that was co-developed with BMW for this car. And because they scaled everything down, all the vents that once would have been functional in the prototype ended up being very short little slivers and couldn't really offer anything for the car. So that's why the vents are there. That's why they aren't functional, but they're all elements of the FT1 concept, which Toyota debuted a handful of years ago. Toyota's got the FT86 back before the FRS BRZ project was released. The FT1 ultimately turned into the Supra. But when Toyota makes sports cars, they do a really good job. And that's, in an age where they're hard to get, I think the GR86 in particular, a budget-oriented car. It's about $30,000 brand new, 232 horsepower at the crank. Great balance, 2,800 pounds. There's not a lot that you can get in that area, dollars-wise, that will be a better car than that.
And it looks good.
At least new. It looks good.
It looks good. So those you're saying would be
the GR86s. So Fez Babar's got one.
Right. Would be the N LFVs on that car.
Yes.
Non-functional look fast vents.
I like that. And again, the Honda S2000, like Alex Westergaard is piloting one of those S2000s right now. That's just probably one of the best cars ever made, in my opinion, just across the board. And you see them everywhere at racetracks. And getting a clean example, low mileage example, they're going over $80,000 to $100,000 now for a clean one.
Are they really?
There's been a couple that have claimed that much. And you can get reasonable mileage ones for the 20s and 30s. But again, this is probably one of the best cars ever built, and it is one of the most popular track cars. And it's taken a long time. The GR86 is still, a stock S2000 still might be able to outperform it, at least in terms of engine performance, but it took, 15 years to get there? And it just shows you how ahead of the time the S2000 was.
Really was. And I think the S2000 has always been one of the it just looks fast sitting there. One of those cars. It just looks great.
And it's a 15 or 20-year-old car. You never know. It looks like it could have been designed yesterday. It's still got some newness to it. Look at Dana Basinski going for a slide. ASM has some drift practice days they hold up near their hometown in Plover, Wisconsin. And Dana, as far as I know, hasn't really engaged in a ton of drift activities, but I think might join the club here after this. Look at this, tipping it in through turn 3.
He's playing with the concept right now.
Woo! Big slide in KD6. Hey, look at that time, a 139.038. Is that because it's a record? A 139.038 in Falcon Club TR. Not quite. Not quite. A 139.038 is just shy of his best time of the weekend. And just shy of Grant Davidson's fastest lap in Falcon Club TR. So Davidson's got a 38.9. Basinski has a 39.005. So very, very close.
Very good, yeah.
Within striking distance, and again, if he's got any room left to go another lap, he's within striking distance. Ben Thorne, by the way, a 140.049. That is a slight pickup for him. A very, very slight pickup. About 2/1000ths of a second.
Yep. And for Westergaard, he just obliterated his best lap of the weekend by about a second and a half. Because he had a 139.3 and he just turned a 37.8.
Wow, okay, so Westergaard puts it up there.
Yeah, he does.
Here's Alex Arteit, the 77. This is a street GT car. Arteit, current best time was a 37.397, so he's within 4/10. The track is pretty close, but the checkered flag is out on
boy, right as it started to get fast.
Yeah, so that
unfortunately. Westergaard timed that to perfection.
He did. He got the most out of it. Arteit did a good job too, but not quite enough to take full advantage of it. So checkered flag falls on Time Attack Group B here at Gridlife Midwest Fest. Group C is going to be up next, but Greg, we're going to get ready to turn things over to Jared Deanda and Sam Nalvin here in just a couple minutes, so it's about time for us to start signing off and finishing up our weekend here for Gridlife live stream. And again, it's been a pleasure to be alongside you, Greg, as always, and hopefully there'll be more this year. I think we're planning on a couple more with you. Hopefully you can make it. But GLTC, amazing weekend. Track battle, some really solid laps, some fun action to watch, especially in that Falcon Club TR category. It continues to be close.
It does. Really, really tight stuff, and it just sheer entertainment on so many levels here. Obviously, you know, with the festival atmosphere, that just takes it to an entirely new level, and sold out on top of it. Once again, this is my first visit here to the Midwest Fest, and you got to come. It's that simple. This is just absolutely superb, and I'll be back.
Music and motorsports, speed meets sound, Greg. This has been a fantastic weekend. We're not quite done yet. We're going to step off and turn things over to Jared and Sam for Drift, along with Greg Bucell. But for us, that's going to do it for the weekend. Again, I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Greg Kramer. Thank you so much for watching and being with us. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Twitch, hit follow. If you're on Facebook, hit like. We'll see you next time at Audubon Country Club. I'll see you there. Greg, we'll see you a little bit later this year. And Jared Deanda and Sam Nalvin will bring you Drift in a little while. Hang tight. We'll bring you Drift in about a half hour. See you there. Coverage of Gridlife Midwest is brought to you by eBay Motors. Let's ride. And by Falcon Tires. The Falcon Azenas RT660 is the official tire of Club TR. Coverage of Gridlife Midwest is brought to you by Momo, made in Italy since 1964.
The more power you have, the more grip you have, the more you push the limits, the more stopping power you need. Get race-proven technology. Hawk Performance.
Hey, we still on this weekend for a little?
You know it. I'm in desperate need of some.
What about you, Jim?
No, my sister's getting the wedding. She's getting married, so.
When adventure calls, make sure you're ready to answer. Stable 360 ethanol treatment is specifically formulated for year-round use, so your engines will be ready when you are. Ready, willing, stable.
We've been powering the American road since before it was paved. Our first breakthrough in motor oil was introducing it. And we've been reinventing it ever since. From the world's first high-mileage oil to the world's first synthetic blend. There are those who change with the times, and those who drive them. Valvoline, the original motor oil.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are live at Gridlife. This is the festival that is the Midwest Festival. I'm Jared Deanna. This is Sam Nalvin, a.k.a. Drift Idiot on Instagram. Please love, share, dote on this human being that is Sam Nalvin. And we're here to have some fun. A little bit of moisture on track, as you saw previously. So that doesn't equate to smoke, but it does equate to a good time.
I hate smoke in drifting. I don't like speed.
Gross.
I don't like proximity. What I do like is a wet track. And right now we are bringing that to you. So thankfully, the weather gods have answered.
Yep.
And we are here now with it's a perfectly wet track in that it's not actively raining. So it's not a consistent damp. It's just kind of like, am I going to spin out in this corner? I don't know. We'll see. And that's what I like to see out there, that variability. Is it going to be fun to watch? Yes.
Of course.
We're going to see a lot of pros, a lot of bros. We're going to see.
Just leave it right there.
That's it. That's the end.
I knew you were going to say more.
Yeah.
It's a pre-moistened snack. You know, like
I don't like when you say moistened snack.
Yeah, I know.
Can we
but
back
just
that up?
it's.
So
you know,
are you implying that like you spit on a Cheeto before you put it in your mouth, or like what's the deal?
No,
there?
it's just it's just like you're not going to break your teeth on it. It's going to be.
When you say
fun.
pre-moistened snack, though, what are you? Like,
Let's
name
go
one.
live down to the track. We're live here at Gridlife, and this is the one, the only Gridlife Midwest Festival. Jared Deanna, Sam Nalvin. He's Jared. I'm Sam. Let's just leave the rest for the show. Tonight is going to be a party as well. There it is, the professional fun haver that is Vaughn Kitten Jr. He is out there in his monster engine. Dude, the K-Series vehicle is right behind him, by the way.
Yep.
That's a Honda-powered 86. I don't know who's driving right now. It's kind of a little bit of everybody's experiencing that car.
Yeah.
So
Village bicycle car.
Yep.
Vaughn in the Spec 5D. We had a beautiful mixed grip and drift session just before earlier.
You got to experience it.
Yeah. So I was in Tesla Model Y.
Model Y?
Model Y.
Because
I was in a Tesla
we
Model
love
Y with Andy there, and we were chasing Vaughn, and it was such a wonderful experience to just see all these drift and grip heroes of Gridlife just out on the track all at once. We can see
the lineup. Nick Swan has curated this parade that is going to happen
Is he
right
going to
now.
send them all at once? It is Saturday night.
It is Saturday night, and it's just, I just got paid. And here we go. Look, I'm seeing that's That's Matt Field, Dylan Hughes, Justin Pollock, and Odie Bakshi's back there on the line. I saw the Ultimaniac. I saw Alex Jager. So Chris Forsberg, Alex Jager. Here we are. So this is turn 1. That's the traditional start-finish. When they come into turn 1, you can see how much rubber is laid down. I wonder how that affects like the GLTC cars and all the grip cars.
Oh, it's definitely present.
Let's just talk about what's going down here.
Yes.
Woo! Let's
okay.
send it.
Remember how I was kind of being bummer about the wet? They don't care. Look at them. It's a little bit chaotic, but they are just going.
A lot of it.
They are going for it. Dylan in the lead, followed by Matt Field. And, Dylan right now is in his converted street car, E36 BMW, with a pretty much just stock M3 motor with a curb ski on it, and his HGKY body. But I guess the track dried for them. I'm not sure what just happened.
Dry right now.
It's beautiful.
It's good.
All right, I'm happy now.
This is ideal. I know you were kind of joking around about seeing the wet, but there's you have zero jokes. You
Larry
are all
Chen
business.
Larry Chen, Supra.
Larry Chen chasing down Vaughn Gittin Jr. in that Toyota Supra. That the team at Toyota who actually prepares and builds vehicles is racing that vehicle. Larry says, I said, dude, how's that car? He says, it's so good. Upgraded turbo, and it's got really active aero.
Yeah.
Like really good. I don't want to say active. It's not movable, but basically it's how do you say?
It flexes
it's working.
in the wind.
It's working.
Yes.
It's working.
And he's chasing Vaughn there.
Yo,
dive
dropping
in. Yeah.
What do we have there?
On some of the bros. Bobby's crew. That's how we know. Lots of stickers. Too many stickers. I can't identify you. Because if I were to read every sticker, I'd never get it right.
No. This is the far side of the track. So we're going now through, I believe that's turn 4 after. We're going to the far side of the track. And T3.
Dad.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yep. Oh, yeah. Looking over there. T3, T4. Over in the Deep Demon, now going into Wiggly Field. Somebody going off course. Sam is having a sneeze attack.
I don't have any flow
off
days.
of camera.
I did my flow days this morning.
I've never heard anybody sneeze.
I'm glad there's
11 times.
I'm glad there's a cough button if you're just going to call me out right after. There is no sneeze button because Jared will call you out on it.
It's really funny. I just got to call it out because these guys are absolutely shredding. And Sam, you were talking about experiencing this track. You've ripped the track, you've dripped the track, you've drifted the track. Let's just moment of silence here.
The Falcon guys are changing positions so rapidly.
Field, Pollock.
Pollock did a little roosty to try to take the outside line.
This is a straight arm wrestling match right now.
Cole Trickle up on top, taking the outside line, staying high on the bank, Cole.
Yeah.
What?
Nothing. Alternate. Oh my gosh, these guys are roosting.
So these are buddies. These are Team Falcon drivers, and they've driven together maybe more than any drivers out there. Dylan's fairly new to the crew here, but they are very familiar with each other's driving. But that doesn't stop the fact that they're constantly trying to pass each other while drifting. This is not a competition, but there's definitely a bit of swagger.
Power struggle.
There's some swagger out there.
There's a power struggle right now. And here we go. We're now riding with, that's TJ Hunt. TJ Hunt is joining us with his Valvoline 350Z, and he was having some issues yesterday. And now map sensors fixed. That's what it was. Simple plug and play. Kind of unloaded his little internet ether box and kind of unplugged it, plugged it back in.
It's magic. I don't know how it works.
Dude, it's so weird.
Speaking of issues,
Subaru.
Speaking of issues, my girlfriend was having FOMO apparently.
How's that?
Because
she texting you right now?
Everyone is
Kevy?
here. We're having such
Kevy.
a good time. Hi, Kevy. It's actually not her. It's a friend of mine who I can't mention his name.
Got it.
But let's just say that there's a lot of people having FOMO for not being here tonight. And that's because right after this, we're going to see Kavinsky. We're gonna.
I know who you're talking about.
We're going to give you a night call to tell you how I feel.
Yes.
I'm going to drive you through the night.
Love it.
Yeah.
You are referencing Kavinsky. The Gold Diggers are out there. The E46s are slapping the bass big time. There is the famous tree.
Big time. Now, when you slap the bass, do you do like a little bass up high or like a medium bass?
I'm more of a low hang bass.
Low hang bass.
I'm like a low hang bass.
See, I like to wear it real.
Yeah. I'm like super slouchy.
Oh, sorry.
You got to tell me when we're going to on
All right,
camera.
you guys at home as well, posture check. Make sure to drink some water. Posture up. Do some burpees if you are not right now doing any burpees. Because right now Team Falcon is is just resetting here before we get back into it.
Who's that entering the track? That is Forrest Wang. If a tree falls in a forest and you're not there to hear it, does it make a Wang sound?
Correct.
It does at Gridlife because Forrest Wang is in the building. Also following him is former FD champ Michael Essa in that FCP Euro BMW. Look at that. There's Forrest Wang, Michael Essa.
Michael Essa throwing down some
cutting through the smoke. Who's that? I don't know who that is.
Ricky Stuttgart.
Oh.
Ricky Stuttgart, 19 out of Kentucky. He used to run a hot dog factory. Hot doggery is what they called it.
Not at all. This is all made up.
Could be, but we'll never know.
Go ahead. Run the tape. We'll see.
Speaking of
Stuttgart.
running tapes, this morning, Jared, you were awoken by a very special bear, Yogi Bear, correct?
I was absolutely enthralled with being part of Gridlife Midwest, and I know that, alongside Vaughn Kitten Jr., shredding, coming up on the back. Like, what is a kid like that, dude?
When Vaughn is coming up hot behind him. I mean, I imagine the same thing that you did this morning when Yogi Bear came up hot outside the cabin window and woke you with donuts. But if you check out Gridlife Official on Instagram and Gridlife Fest and their hashtags, #Gridlife, #Gridlife Midwest, you will eventually see Jared being woken up by Yogi the Bear very kindly, very intimately, I would say.
Whoa. Just gave me donuts.
Don't report us.
Yeah. Don't get canceled.
This Subaru has been shredding
is
out
absolutely.
Here. It looks like he broke the car by pulling off the front axles, if I could guess, or he just completely transplanted that flat 4 out of there. The world is flat, as we all know if you're a Subaru owner, so I doubt he would ever do that.
Yeah.
Subaru owners, though, already kind of a betrayal against Subaru, so I'm not sure where they stand on the flatness scale.
TJ Hunt out there watching front row. His man Grant. Grant is piloting at E36. Grant is flowing. He looks like the homeboy from Game of Thrones. He's got like flowing ginger locks.
Yeah.
Very like Viking-esque. But
who's in the JZX though?
That will be.
It's plausibly Stonebeck. We had heard rumored.
No. Who is it? Oh gosh. Oh my gosh! I saw him earlier. No, Stonebeck's in S15. Jeff Stonebeck's in S15.
But I'd also
JZX.
heard that he had been piloting this car. Could be hearsay. It's rumor mill only. Otherwise, I did confirmed it could be Tom Cruise in promotion of the new
Top Gun. So, a.k.a. Maverick.
A.k.a.
Jinx Yomiko. A.k.a.
the
also
Iceman,
known as
the Smirnoff Iceman.
Smirnoff Iceman. Yeah.
Yes.
Big fan, Smirnoff Iceman.
Speaking of Smirnoff Iceman, Dylan Hughes, big fan of Smirnoff Ice in the Permatex E36.
E36 or E46?
Is that a 36 or is it a 46?
No, I'm saying.
I was going to say that's a 36.
I'm saying.
You made me scared for a moment. That
what's your
faves?
E36 chassis, E30, E46?
I mean, me personally, I don't even know my chassis code of my M2. F87, is that correct?
Yeah, I think you're
I should know this, but no, E36 is not for me. Gold diggers. 2JZ powered
Dirt
E46
diggers right now. Look at that.
Are they both 2JZs? Are you? Believe so. Maybe. We'll say it is. You have to believe us. Nothing else you can do.
Nope. Oh,
yeah,
got wobbly. Got wobbly.
One of our favorite crews out here.
Yeah, these guys party.
They do party. It is just so sacrilegious and beautiful to hear that Z sound coming out of the BMW chassis.
Yeah.
As these two, diving in there. And this corner is such a weird one, too. You don't get to really see it on video, but it's almost like two corners because it kind of straightens out in the middle. You see that little straight? And then you either kind of do a long E-brake rip or you power through it, depending on your power level there.
The overall event is absolutely exciting, but we're looking for the Momo moment.
The Momo moment.
It's a tongue twister.
Oh,
whoa! Larry says,
Larry
bye.
got that on camera.
Yep.
Oh,
sorry.
Larry, delete that image. Go ahead. Don't even worry about it.
Big Duck Club. It's coming in hot. I said Big Duck Club.
Careful.
Nope.
Speaking of ducks, the gentleman in the pits with the duck earlier today.
Yep.
That's cool, right?
He had no change, only bills.
Come on, dog. You can't be playing me like that.
I said duck, not dogs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Dude, shut the duck up.
You cannot.
I said duck you.
If
duck off.
I feel like this is getting
There's a lot of ducks to be had. Dude, this is unducking believable. I got to go.
Back to you, Jared.
We're live here at Gridlife Midwest Festival, the one, the only. Tonight, Kavinsky. We're looking at who else is playing?
Joyride.
Oh, man. So the beauty of this is what we're trying to really entice you to is being part of this, being up close, up personal.
Like you were last night with Cascade, where you coerced the man with the cryo fog button to let you push that fog button.
Yeah.
And let me just say right now that if you think Jared's a very talented commentator, he's an even more talented fogger because he was just going hard. Yes, that's the noise it made. It was such a sight to behold.
Woo!
But yeah, last night's show was incredible. We only have even more incredible music coming up tonight. But speaking of incredible,
Doesn't
Jared,
Ultimaniac look fake? The car looks fake.
I mean, it's not a bird, Jared.
It's a bird flying on a bird. It's a drone.
Yeah.
That car looks insane.
Yeah.
The
you
car
take
is,
a
like,
regular old.
It does look
You take
insanely
a regular
low.
old Altima,
Hey,
cut out
there.
like the bottom foot-ish, and then slam it, put a Skyline R35 motor into it, twin turbo it. I guess it's already twin turbo, but you know what I mean. It is a ridiculous car.
Yeah, the car looks bonkers.
With 4 seats in it.
Yeah. TJ Hunt, Grant in the E36, and then in tow the green. What is that? Coming through a little Altezza, a little IS jammer.
That could be Nick
Nice.
Swan. We'll never know.
Yeah, never know. Gold Digger's still digging deep, digging in the dirt, and also digging into the gears.
And there is a certain passion and fire with the Saturday night drift session because this is the last one of the day.
It's kind of the last hoorah, last hopa.
But it still goes on much
Mazel
after
tov.
this. But as far as drifting is concerned, this is the climax, one would say. Jared?
I'm not peaking right now.
Yes.
But I will tell you that, like, overall, Gridlife.
There is a threshold, and you're about to reach it. And after that point, you'll need a rest.
Never rest. Oh, Team Horny.
Speaking of this, so Jared's
Great
not
segue.
being, you can see on the back bumper there, Team Horny, with that Hyundai.
Hyundai.
Is that
Hyundai like Sunday.
Okay.
Hyundai.
It's Saturday, though, Jared.
You don't Hyundai on a Saturday.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Did you Friday on a Saturday? Or no, you Saturday.
I every day on a day that ends with
You're
Y.
real. You're as real as they come.
I'm the most real.
Speaking of real, do you remember that beautiful moment yesterday when Greg had an interview with Justin Pollock?
Yeah. Called him out.
Apparently, our man in the pits, Greg, is no longer on camera. We can't say why.
Don't know why. Just Alex Jaeger and Chris Forsberg are going down. Yo, 8 seats, 8 smiles, more miles. Dude, I'm wondering where Adam LZ is, Chelsea Denofa. Have not seen those cats on this session.
They're on stage doing karaoke right now.
Dude, there's so much.
Jaeger already lost the bumper of La Flama, the VK-powered
La Flama
M
Negra.
chassis there. But
Used to be Blanca back in the day.
Yeah, that was a white car. Now the black car, a Midwest staple. I would dare say.
Oh, Alec Robbins!
Hey,
in his pro car. Dude, this guy. Less than a week, that guy's going to be in New Jersey competing.
A lot of these guys are. A lot, but also.
But that's his pro car.
Oh,
it's the only reason I say that.
Oh, okay, that's a big deal.
That is literally Alec
Maybe
Robbins.
he's shaking her down.
Well, great opportunity. Alec Robbins from Minnesota.
Can you name a drift car that has been here at Gridlife Midwest more than Forsberg's La Flama Infinity? Ooh. I'm not sure that there's a single chassis, other than maybe a Falcon car. Is there a Falcon car that's had more Midwest appearances?
They've had variety there. They've had variety.
I'd be curious to see the stats.
Yo, look.
We're
at
all
Grant.
about stats here at Gridlife Midwest.
Got the Club Loose sticker on the back. Shout out
I
to
wish
the
that
boys
car
in
had a
town.
Hulk fist coming out of it, like in Tokyo Drift.
No, thank goodness it doesn't.
With that Scion, I guess a Toyota in Japan.
Yep.
But
I'm good.
You don't want that?
Little bow wow?
It was. Yeah, that was.
It had like a bow wow.
Yeah, a little bow wow.
Yeah. But wow. Joao, he's competing next week.
Yes.
At Formula Drift. Yep.
I do like an Altezza.
I do. You took the words out of my mouth.
I do like an Altezza.
Dude, the Altezza was a game changer. I think that car
They named
overall.
taillights after it, Jared.
They literally did. The Altezza taillights.
Are they ever going to come back, do you think? Altezza taillights?
They will.
Do you think so?
You
know so.
I know so. Oh, there we go. I just saw Adam LZ. Adam LZ ripping past.
He did run, YouTube, in case you were wondering. He did run just now. Press F in chat, fam. Or don't. I'm not going to tell those guys what to do.
I mean, seriously, though.
Seriously, though, what happened to that bumper? It's on the track somewhere.
No, I'm just saying the Ultimaniac looks insane.
Yes, it is insane. He's doing 130-mile-an-hour initiations down the straight. And that car he has to restrain himself. A lot of these cars that are very fun to drive, they're going 100%. I don't think it's possible to see what 100% of this car does as it spits flames out of its dual wastegates there.
VR-powered Ultimaniac. The Ultima that is... Oh, is that Wang Chung? Looks like that is Forrest Wang. Alec Robbins right there in tow. Looking forward to see Forrest Wang re-enter Formula Drift competition next year in 2023.
Oh, yeah.
He wanted to come back in 22. He's all about the V8.
Is he getting back into it right now with his 2J powered S15?
Yes.
No, that's
S15.
a 15. Yep. He's always had such clean builds that have really shaped S chassis modification over the years because of the attention to detail that he does a lot of himself. I saw him in the pits already this weekend cranking some stuff. I'm not sure if it was fake, like as far as I know about cars.
Was he cranking Soulja Boy?
He was cranking Soulja Boy. Let me Superman.
You,
as the song goes.
What?
Yes. Oh, there's LZ.
Great segue.
You were asking.
Very clean.
You were asking.
Adam LZ is out there in his AutoZone Ford Mustang, Von Gint Jr. in tow, and to see, obviously, Captain Radical, that is his pops, RIP, shout out to Von Gint Sr.
Is that his real dad?
Von Gint Cap? Like Vaughn?
Oh, no, I thought you were saying Vaughn was Adam's dad.
No, gosh, no.
Okay.
No. I thought you meant Captain Rad, a.k.a. Von Gint Sr.
Yeah.
Yes.
The family trees here at Gridlife get a little bit convoluted at times. We're very friendly with each other here, as you'll learn.
Look at the burn and turning.
Yes.
Dude. Insane event. Thank you, guys and gals, so much for joining us out here. Thank you to all of our sponsors, including FCP Euro. We're talking about Momo. We're talking about so many companies that have supported. That is Gridlife Midwest Festival, including, again, just overall. And, thank you.
Keep it going. What do we have going on for the rest of the night, Jared?
This evening, we have a full-on concert, and looking forward to seeing Kavinsky, as you say, Joyride. But want to create the FOMO, not fear of missing out, because guess what? You are here. If you're watching us, you're in the building. So thank you so much for joining us. Sam, anything else you want to say?
We appreciate you. We love you. Do another burpee real quick. Do a posture check. If you are sitting and slouching in your chair, we care about that here at Gridlife Midwest especially. We appreciate you spending the day with us.
Yep.
If you're not here right now with us on the ground this year watching, I wish you would come. Because right now we're not seeing the drifting. It's kind of bumming me out. I wish I was out there watching drifting like you could be. But in the meantime, follow Gridlife Official.
That's right.
On IG and other social platforms. Gridlife Fest. And then if they would switch away from us, we could read ads.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us out here. On behalf of Sam Nalvin, I'm Jared Dienda. Send it.
At 303, we're always chasing perfection. Protect your ride with graphene nanospray coating. Now, boost protection, shine, and slickness with Graphene Detailer. Level up your detailing game. Harness the power of graphene with 303.
Ooh. Call Logano. Hey, Joey, you can save money if you fill up at Shell if you use Advanced Auto Parts Speed Perks.
Dude, I'm way ahead of you.
You saved at the pump?
Yeah, I saved at the pump.
The pump?
The pump.
He saved at the pump!
Woo! Now you can save at the pump when you shop at Advance Auto Parts. Learn more at advanceautoparts.com/gas rewards.
Now, It's my turn.
The more power you have, the more grip you have, the more you push the limits, the more stopping power you need. Get race-proven technology. Hawk Performance.
Hey, we still on this weekend for a little?
You know it. I'm in desperate need of some.
What about you, Jim?
No, my sister's getting the wedding. She's getting married, so.
When adventure calls, make sure you're ready to answer. Stable 360 ethanol treatment is specifically formulated for year-round use, so your engines will be ready when you are. Ready, willing, stable.
We've been powering the American road since before it was paved. Our first breakthrough in motor oil was introducing it. And we've been reinventing it ever since. From the world's first high-mileage oil to the world's first synthetic blend. There are those who change with the times, and those who drive them. Valvoline, the original motor oil.